She's like, oh shit, I was supposed to wake you up at 7:30. Good day, YouTube. Okay, first and foremost, we had a technical difficulty and another difficulty. My one difficulty, I was taking a nap. My wife was supposed to wake me up. She didn't do it. My technical difficulty, my computer keyboard has had, this laptop has had so much beer spilt on it that it didn't want to accept my password like 15 times, and then I got it on, and then Google Plus didn't want to work, and then I had to restart, and then it didn't accept my password again because of the keyboard, and yeah, so it was a fun time getting this going. Anyway, right now you have myself, you have Nick from Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews, you have Lee from Hoogly's Beer Reviews, you have Greg over there from Toronto. We still have to give him a nickname at some point. And the first thing we're going to do tonight is talk about our top macro beers and our top owned by a macro company beers. And why, oh, you guys love craft beer, why would you do that? Well, that's just it. We love craft beer, but we're not snobs. There are times that some of these beers are okay. And we'd like to actually prove that because we don't want to be known as the snobs. At least I don't. And I want to actually acknowledge that they do make some good beers out there. Yeah. And first and foremost, what's everybody drinking tonight?
Well, in honor of it being macro night, I'm going to have a Molson Canadian cider, and I'm going to have it in a Rickard Shandy glass. Can't get more Molson than that.
How about yourself, Lee? What are you after?
I am now on my first bottle of the Vickers Cross from Boxing Rock, double IPA.
Nice. Yourself, Nicholas?
I haven't grabbed it out of the cellar yet, but in a couple minutes here I'm going to grab a bottle of Lavash Full's Imperial Milk Stout.
Nice.
Here and be excited.
I'm going to be drinking in honor of what tonight is as well. A Hoegaarden. I actually went out and I was at the LCBO, and some of you might have seen the picture of the new beers I picked up for review. I was actually out of beer to review. I was on my last two. And I walked in and they had a bunch of the winter packs out. And this pack's always there. This pack has Hoegaarden in it. It has Stella Artois, which I also have out to drink later.
Yeah, that's the one with the 3 glasses?
Yeah, and it always has a Left product. But this year it had Left Royal in it. So I jumped on picking that up because I wanted to try Left Royal.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that one today. I saw you got this St. Bernardus. Was that like a gift pack with all those different...
Yeah, that was 6 St. Bernardus. So I had the St. Bernardus 12. I think I might actually put that over in the cellar for next year, so we'll have it almost a year old when the guys get here, and we can try it then.
Yeah, I noticed in the NSLC we're starting to get the winter gift packs in too this year.
I went in and I expected to spend about $20, and I came out spending like $85.
Fucking exactly the same here, man.
I can't let the wife see this receipt. So.
Always the most expensive time of the year for beer. I mean,
I know, and it's these packs come out, and you never know how long they're going to last. So if you see one and you want to try something in it, you have to grab it.
Yeah, I grabbed...
The Witchwood pack is out right now, too. The Witchwood pack has the Hobgoblin, the Scarecrow,
and then
something else, and the Imperial Red.
Yeah, mine's different. It's got something... It's 2 different ones, though, that I've never had before. So
okay.
It's like, yep, grabbing them.
Problem is, I've had the Hobgoblin, I've had the Scarecrow actually fairly recently, and I didn't particularly like either one of them, so I don't really want to buy a pack that already has 2 beers that I don't like.
Oh, I made the concession. I was like, I can give those 2 beers to my dad or my brother or something like that, and then I get to try the 2 new beers and review them.
Yeah, see, I don't mind Hobgoblin, and the other 2 beers I don't think I cared for much, but I hadn't had the Imperial Red, so I think I'm going to go back and grab it at some point soon.
I definitely want to get that St. Bernardus pack because I've only ever had the 12, and that was actually...
That pack has some great things in it that I like, and the Christmas beer was sitting beside it too. The Christmas beer was a separate buy.
Yeah, before the Epiphany #1, actually, the St. Bernardus was my favorite quad. So.
They also had the at my store. They had the Innocent Gun pack for this year that has the bottle opener instead of the glass.
This bottle opener right here is what you get. It's slightly different than their normal speed bar. And the edges are not rounded at all. They're completely flat. So this actually saves caps better than the BB Barfly.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So there's just a tiny indent on the cap.
Am I the only one that's not seeing any video for either Chad or Lee? I just see black screens for both of you.
Oh, really?
I can see video fine.
Okay, I'm going to try disconnecting, coming back. 1 second.
Okay, we'll wait for you to come back and then we'll start. Should we start with the crafty or the macro? Maybe the Huron Macro.
I think I'm going to start with a beer, though.
Yeah, you go get a beer.
Okay, I'll also say, the Innocent Gun Pack that we had this year, it's got their, I bought that, it's got 2 beers I already had, of course, but it's got the Toasted Oak IPA and their Bourbon Stout. So.
Yeah, Nick says you can thank him for exactly what beers are in there. And I said, well, that's great, you picked out some good beers, but get rid of the fucking original in this pack.
Mm.
Not that the original isn't what made them, I understand why the original's there, but if you're going to put out this pack, get 4 cool, get them all to be new.
Yeah, and make it, and if it's going to be like a winter seasonal pack, then make it a winter seasonal pack with winter type beers.
Speaking of Innocent Gun, we got a Scotch whiskey porter. You guys seen that yet?
No.
Just showed up here this week.
Probably never will. But yeah, it's the same thing with that Sleeman pack, the new one with the.
Okay, I just reviewed that. I actually have one out for tonight.
I just reviewed it tonight as well.
The oak aged.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I said when I was done reviewing this beer. First, I said if I could get this beer in a 12-pack on its own, I would possibly buy it. Because it wasn't bad at all. It was actually great.
Good.
But what I said they should do with these seasonals, with these selection packs, is put whatever 3 seasonals they've made into it, and then the fine porter and the IPA and I don't know, the dark or the Silver Creek Lager, just their specialty beers. Why put your fucking cream, honey, and that's it in there when you have all these beers that are actually really good that people don't get because they don't want to buy a whole 12-pack of it? Put them together in a mixed pack, and you will actually get craft beer drinkers to buy it just to share with their friends, because their friends that might like it macro beer can enjoy this stuff, and so can the craft guy.
Yeah, because does this pack scream like fall seasonal pack to you? Fucking oak aged beer, okay. That's a given. That sounds like it'd be a fall beer, winter beer, whatever. And then you have the cream ale, the fucking
Silver Creek Lager,
and what was the other one? Oh,
Honey Brown.
Honey Brown.
Which are all good summer beers from.
Okay.
They should have the packages: the IPA, the dark, the porter, and the oak aged. That's what they should have done.
They can even. I mean, if their big thing is cost or whatever, why not do 6-packs of their seasonals? Just two of the oak aged, 2 porter, 2.
You can't
whatever.
tell me cost is a big thing though. That's already a $24 12-pack.
Yeah.
You're paying $2 a beer. You're actually still making your money on them. Don't put the stickers on the bottles. Just put the fucking bottles in the white clear glass like you always do, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start this off. We'll start with Greg, and we're going to do the full-on macro first.
Oh boy. Damn, I was hoping to steal some ones from you guys. I've got a top 8 list, and take my list with a grain of salt because I don't drink a lot of macros, and a lot of these I haven't had for a few years, so I don't know, maybe they don't hold up so well, and they're more or less in order. I haven't really thought about it that much, but the number 8 and 7, which really are kind of interchangeable, I put Keith's IPA and Moosehead Lager, just because in a place, I go to a bar and that's what they have. That's generally what I'll have because it's much better than Coors Light or Molson Canadian or the general stuff you find. And I think both of them are reasonable lagers. I put the next one as Guinness. Again, I don't mind. I usually buy a couple around St. Patrick's Day just to pretend to be Irish, and they're always fine. I don't mind them. I actually prefer it over the which one Mill Street makes, the Cobblestone.
Yeah, really.
I actually prefer the Guinness over the Cobblestone. I find it actually has a little more flavor, even though it has fish bladders in it or whatever. But Rickard's White, it's another one that often I can pick up and get at a restaurant, and it's actually the beer that got me into craft beer. That was basically the first beer I had that wasn't a lager, and still to this day I think you stick an orange in it, it's not bad. Then the Kilkenny Irish Cream Ale, which, again, it doesn't have the most flavor, but it's kind of an interesting feeling. It feels like you're drinking alcoholic milk just because of the texture of it. Then my number 3 on the list would be Rickard's Oast House, which this is one I haven't tried since 2012. I think it was the first year it came out, and I actually thought it was pretty good, kind of like a Innocent Gun Light. Then number 2, I actually put as Molson Canadian Wheat, which I had about a year or so ago. I don't even know if they still make it, but I always thought that was a pretty good kind of light wheat beer, and a good sort of introductory beer for somebody that's not quite ready for a full one.
was a perfect American wheat ale.
Yeah.
And then my number 1, I kind of cheated and put a couple. I just put the Keith's One Hop series. I think, even though I know they don't compare to a regular IPA or anything, I kind of think, especially I enjoyed the Galaxy one. I thought, you know what, for a macro beer, these are pretty good. They actually show off some different flavors, and yeah, they're still watered down, but good enough. So that's my list.
Nice. I just to say, I forgot how much I enjoy Hoegaarden. We'll go to Nick next.
Or me. Okay. To be totally honest, we're doing the macro first. We're not doing companies owned by macro, right?
That's right, the macro list first.
All right. I gotta admit, I had a hard time coming up with a list on this, and I'm not trying to sound like a snob and saying, "Hey, I hate macro beers," because I don't. It's because the majority of macro beers out there are along the lines of lagers or very weak beers, and I'm just not a big fan of those. But I did come up with a top five for each one, and an honorable mention for each one. So I'm just going to say it. Top 5 macro beers. Well, technically Guinness is a macro, and I got to say, Foreign Extra Stout is one of the best beers I've had. Now, that might be cheating, so I could also downgrade that to the regular draft, which I like almost as much. There's also Moosehead's Boundary Ale.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. Moosehead's Alpine. And also Kokanee. I actually kind of like Kokanee. And an honorable mention is Grolsch, one of the better European lagers in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my top 5.
Alrighty. Sorry, I'm just quickly jotting down the things you said.
Did you say your honorable mention for that?
Yeah, my honorable mention is Grolsch.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, so Lee, what's your list?
Okay, actually, I've got one there that matches with Nick right off the bat. My number 5 would be the Moosehead Boundary Ale. I mean, they honestly could have put that under their Hop City line if they wanted.
No, for sure.
But very, very good. Number 4, I just went with Olin Export. I mean, that's one I grew up drinking that I liked more than Keith's, and so I picked that one instead. 3, Pabst Blue Ribbon. I like Pabst Blue Ribbon. I don't care if it's a hipster fad to like it at this point or whatever. I think it's a decent macro lager either way. And number 2 would be Coors Banquet, which I think is actually not only a decent macro lager, it's just generally a good, easy drinking beer. Like, just there's nothing wrong with it at all, as far as I'm concerned. And number 1, I'd just go Guinness Draft. Say what you want about it being blander than what its reputation is, and all that stuff, but it's, I mean, I can just sit back and drink Guinness all night. I have no problem with it, and it's generally a decent beer, all things considered. So.
Alrighty. Myself, I was able to make the top 10, but I have tried like 2,600 beers, so there is a lot of beer to choose from. And I could have taken some stuff out of here if I had remembered Moosehead Boundary Ale. I really could have, but I didn't. Anyway, my honorable mentions would be Zuber and Zawicz from Poland, both just bland Polish lagers, which you can drink all the time, and some of the bars around here have. Tusker, which is an African beer that's actually very good. It's under the Diageo umbrella. And Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, which is Saab Miller product. So my top 10, number 10, my very first beer, Old Vienna. Is it a great beer? No. Is it the very first beer I ever drank and I have fond memories of? Yes. I don't have fond memories of the taste, but I have fond memories of drinking. Number 9, Molson Export. Just like Old Vienna, they're 2 beers that I would actually buy if I'm at a bar and they don't have anything that I would normally drink. Number 8, Molson 67 Sublime, so the lemon lime one. I actually thought it was great because it was just soda water with a hint of lemon and lime. It was just something you could sit back and drink all day, every day. I mean, it didn't have the Canadian funk to it. It didn't have anything. It just was soda water with hints of lemon and lime. Was it beer? No. Was it a great camping thing? Get a 2-4 of it and just sit back all day, every like 10 minutes, popping open a bottle? Yeah. Number 7, Moosehead Lager. Again, something that I will buy at a bar if I'm at a bar that doesn't have craft beer. I actually don't mind Moosehead Lager at all. The only thing I hate about it is that damn green bottle, which makes it go skunky every once in a while, because people don't seem to buy it as much as they used to. Number 6, Dos Equis Lager. It's Dos Equis, man. It's whatever. It's a beer. It's easy to drink. Now, 5 and up are actually beers that I actually would get behind and tell people to try all the time. Number 5, Sleeman IPA. An IPA. It actually has IPA flavors. I mean, it tastes like an IPA. It's not bad at all. Sleeman does a good job at a lot of what they do, regardless of how big they are. Number 4, Alexander Keith's Sapphire Hop Ale. That was probably my favorite of the one hop because it was perfect. They didn't take anything away from it. It was just there. And it's a super boring hop, but the beer was just perfect. Number 3, Sleeman's Fine Porter. It was a good example of a porter. It was actually done properly. Number 2, Labatt Porter, but in brackets, the Canadian version, the version brewed in Quebec, not the version brewed in Rochester, New York by Jennison. And number 1, Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. Because you cannot say that isn't the best macro beer out there that has the macro name on it. I mean, it's an amazing beer. It really is. It comes out and fights you with as much taste as a lot of craft stouts, so you can't say anything bad about that. Yeah. So that's my list. Yeah.
I must have really had a bad bottle of the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout when I had it, because I was not impressed with it at all. But
Well, maybe your palate's just stupid.
yeah, it could be. Could be. My palate might have been stupid that one day. I might have slipped.
Wrong.
You're just 100% wrong. We don't accept different opinions here. Oh, God.
By the way, Massive Beer Reviews wants you to shoot him an individual invite.
I already fucking did. I can't invite you again when I've already invited you. I did it just so I can't have you bitch about it.
I shot some reviews over the last weekend, and I squeezed Stouty into each one.
Average Joe says Greg's 2 potential nicknames: Greg Backlogski for checking in 500 plus beers on Untapped in 4 days with no ratings. If not, then maybe Fries with that, since Chad is always placing orders. Credit to the Duchette for that one. Joe also says, I'm curious as to where you guys place macro and beers made by macros. Where do the following fall? Blue Moon line, Rickards line, Shock Top line. Are they crafty? But all are crafty, but aside from Blue Moon, they're originally created by macros. Just looking for clarification on your list is all. And Strange Bruising says, my favorite is Old Vienna. It's on tap most places down here in Beer Wasteland. I'll speak on Joe's question there just for a second. When I was doing my top 5 macros list, I was going more for beers that are obviously macros. I mean, you could probably argue Guinness is owned by a bigger company because it's owned by fucking Diageo. But I mean, I was basically just going for beers that they make enough beer that of that beer that it is obviously a macro. So it's like, who the fuck cares? But at the same time, there might be one on my top 5 owned by macros list that you could probably dispute would not be in most people's thoughts as to being a craft beer. But my top 5 owned by macros, most of my list is stuff where you'd think, okay, this is a craft beer. It's not a exclusively macro thing. It wouldn't pop in your mind that, oh, this is a big Budweiser beer or some shit like that, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, Shock Top and all that may have been made by the big guy. Rickards actually was its own company at first, but they're still offshoots of the original companies. I mean, most of them aren't brewed right in, like, Some of the stuff is, but most of them aren't brewed right in the main factories, and they're not brewed to the same barrel outputs. So I would count them in the owned by because they are technically their own offshoot. I mean, Rickard's employees are usually Rickard's employees. Not all the time. They do make some Rickard stuff in the Toronto Molson factory and all that, but Rickard's does have its own building, much like Hop City and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Matt just got in, so Matt, what are your top just macro, not your own by macro? And then some comments.
Let's see. I went with Lee, number 5 PBR, man. Like, if I'm gonna go golfing or I'm gonna have like a crap barbecue and just want to drink a beer and not really do whatever. I mean, it's always been there. So for me, I like Past Blue Ribbon. Number 4 is because I have Stella Artois, only because that I go to at like an oyster house all the time, and it's the only decent beer they have there, and I've pretty much trained myself to love that beer only because I've been drinking it for like 5 years. 3 is a local one around here, Yingling Lager. Again, it's not the best beer in the world, but it's also just something I grew up around, so there's that thing inside me that for some reason I like it. 2 would be Guinness. To me, Guinness tastes like fluffy air that has alcohol in it. So for me, if I want to drink something that tastes like fluffiness and doesn't want to make me throw up, I like Guinness. And number 1, I really like Michelob Amberbach. Something about that beer. It's always been a beer where if I go to a bar and they have just a crap selection, they have that on there, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, there's a little bit of something with a little bit going on in it. And that's pretty much it.
Look who joined us, Jakob. How you doing, dude?
I'm good. It's been a while.
Mm.
So
Good to see you.
yeah. Cheers.
How late is it over where you are right now?
Well, it's 11:15. I'm in Greenland right now, actually,
Ah, okay.
and I came here this summer, and I put my studies on break, and I'm staying here until September, I think. So.
Right on.
I'm not going to be doing many beer reviews with Peter in the near future.
Unless he gets on a fucking longboat, like he should, and just go over there.
So
What's the Greenland beer like? The beer scene there.
it's pretty much non-existent.
Okay.
There's, I think, 2 breweries. One in the capital, Göteborg, which brews, well, you know, your standard crafty, local crafty beers, you know, tourist traps. And then we have one here in this town where I'm in, which is Ilulissat, which is the #1 tourism attraction place, whatever. You probably heard all about the glacier and all that things in Greenland. It's here in this town. We have one brewery here, and well, it's kind of the same touristy, trappy beer.
That sounded very inspiring. It's that bad, huh?
It's really bad. But I chose to stay, so something is pulling me or keeping me here, and it's not beer.
And Joe just put a few more comments in here. He said first I was also not impressed with it, Lee. It was solid, but nothing mind-blowing. Certainly not as great as I heard it was. Maybe had a bad batch, which seems like the cop-out answer for not liking something as much as others, but it's okay not to like something. I think people tend to forget that sometimes. That's in relation to the Guinness Foreign Extra Stout.
Yep.
It's true.
Devin King says, "Evening, boys. Almost bought a microphone today, but decided to take care of some other things. I'll spew some comments from the peanut gallery while I make dinner. Maybe someone will beer mail me a headset. Yeah, just fucking buy one, dude. Come on." And Joe
No,
has
he's a lowly brewery laborer now. He doesn't have money for a headset.
Oh, poor baby. 2 more from Joe. He said, "Did Matt just call Stella Artois Stella Artois? It's a fucking 10. It's a fucking 10, apparently." And he also says, Jakob just clasped up this joint, bow down before the Lord of Malts.
The Lord of...
Doesn't the king of YouTube outrank him?
No, Master Hobbits and Lord of Malts outrank me.
I think Lord ranks king.
Yes, somehow Lord outranks King of BeerTube.
Yeah, because BeerTube is so fucking lowly and full of reprobates that...
So, I got rid of the Stella Artois. I did pour it into the glass just to get rid of it. The only problem with it is it comes in a... If you guys have not seen the box that it comes in, it's completely open and it's sitting on the shelf looking out at the window, and yeah. I opened it and my whole basement smells like a skunk attack.
I don't know.
So like in April then.
So should we ask Jakob just off the top of his head if he can name any...
Yeah! Well, he should have some on the next set. I know that they've done a lot of left beers and stuff. But yeah. Jakob, off the top of your head, do you have like 4 or 5 favorite macro brews? We're doing macros and owned by macros first tonight.
Well, of course, there's, I guess, Tuborg. It's pretty much the only available beer macro in Denmark. Well, then there's Royal Classic, which is like, I don't know if Royal is down. Unibrew, Royal Unibrew, not Unibrow, as in the Canadian.
Oh,
but,
like
Yeah, Fax, yeah.
yeah, Fax, yeah, Fax. So Fax. So yeah, primarily Fax, and then yeah.
Well, it's Danish.
It's Danish, but you know, the only things I've had pleasure of enjoying this summer, and like that, is Tuborg. So,
the gold or the green?
the green.
The Pilsner?
The Pilsner. I've had opportunity of getting the gold, black gold, from time to time, but not often. The beer scene up here is horrendous. So yeah, just off the top of my head, there's that, mainly Danish craft beer. Yeah, Tuborg, Carlsberg, Fax.
Not
And
bad.
average Joe says, I think Jakob is in a place that is the true definition of a beer wasteland. He can no longer complain. I will still fucking complain, Joe, so fuck you.
At least you can get Vickers across.
Yeah, now I can.
Trying to get rid of the rest of these macro beers I have in front of me before I jump into the craft stuff. I have one left after this one.
That's why I'm drinking all these ciders I have, because my fiance, she works at Molson, and for Halloween they give them free vouchers for beer. So they got free vouchers this year for ciders, so I got a whole bunch, and now I'm just drinking them all.
Wow, Molson really doesn't like their employees, do they?
Yeah, that's why I'm drinking this Coors Light here. I figured I might as well pound this Coors Light down before we get to the next section.
Alrighty, is there any comments other than Joe trolling us?
Let's see here.
Is there ever?
Refresh.
That has to go on somebody's headstone when they die. Is there any other comments besides Joe trolling us?
Yeah, no, there's nothing else new, so we can move on.
Alrighty. The hell is okay. I understand what he's saying. Okay, I'll answer him later. Sorry, Simon was just spam messaging me. So the next is our top beers that are owned by a macro company. Pardon me? Am I hearing things? Am I going insane?
I heard something, I don't know where it came from.
Oh, okay, I'll stop editing.
Oh, yeah, that might be a good idea.
I think Jakob is throwing his voice on us. Trying to mess with us.
Sorry, I don't know if There's somebody here.
So yeah, top beers owned by a macro. We'll start with I don't know. Let's start with Lee this time.
Okay. So this is the one on the list that people might dispute, that they don't feel quite works, but it is owned by, I believe it's either Sab Miller or AB InBev, I forget which one. Pilsner Urquell. For me, it still tastes like a beer that's like a traditional, like really good lager, so that's why I included it on the list. I mean, I think it's pretty much the gold standard for the Pilsner style still, as far as I'm concerned, so that's why I got it on there. Number 4, I go for Lef Blonde. My number 3 would be Hoegaarden. My number two, honestly, I could do this whole list with just Unibrew beers, but I just picked one. It'd be the Unibrew 17 Grand Reserve, which actually there's a couple of those also came in for the winter gift pack kind of thing deal in my NSLC, so I'm going to pick some of those up next time I'm up there. And my number 1 would be Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. I mean, how could that not be the number 1 as far as I'm concerned as a macro-owned company?
Yeah, nice list there, good sir. Matt.
I ended up coming up with more than 10, so I ended up doing like an honorable mention thing. First would be we're Omegang, because Omegang falls in that, right? I guess we'd say with Duvel's involvement.
Duvel's only at 650,000 barrels a year, so they wouldn't.
Okay, so I'll skip those, even though I have some of those in my top 10.
Yeah, we actually were discussing that off air about whether or not we'd consider it, because they have the same type of idea, because they're a big corporation now buying up little guys.
Yeah.
But their size just isn't there.
Okay. I had, some of these are probably moving my top 10 since I have a Duvel one in there, but actually I have 3 Duvel beers in there. But anyway, and then I mentioned was 2 Omegang Duvels, and it was a Miller Coors Leinkugel's Big Eddie Russian Imperial Stout, which was just, I really like that beer. It's just a nice, you know what I mean, roasty, malty Russian Imperial Stout. And then I had Spaten Optimator. I like Spaten Optimator. So it's an AB InBev beer. And then Left Brown was just left outside of my top 10. 10 was Unibrew's La Fin du Monde. It was like probably one of the... Unibrew has like a soft spot in my heart because...
Hey, look, it's somebody here and I'm in my underwear.
Hey! Unibrew was like a soft spot in my heart because it's one of the first good beers I had, so that's in there. My number 9 was Omegang Adoration, but again, we skipped on that. 8 would Unibrew Triple Pistols or Trois Pistolets. That was number 8 on my list. It's one of my favorite Belgian darks that don't come from Belgium. AB InBev bought Blue Point out of Long Island, and their Blue Point Old Howling Bastard, which is like an American-style barley wine. I mean, it's not super hop forward, but it's crazy, like caramel malty goodness. Number 6 was Miller Coors Leinkugel's Big Eddie Uber Oktoberfest. It was like their Oktoberfest, but it was like almost like they called it an Oktoberfest, but it's a dry hop like triple Oktoberfest. It's not like a regular Marzen or anything like that, and it was really, really good. Then I did 5 Goose Island's their Bourbon County Coffee Stout. I mean, it's Bourbon County line, like Lee said. I mean, what are you going to say? You know what I mean? It's Bourbon County's line. And 3 and 4, or 4 and 3, I guess you'd say, was a Duvel one, because Duvel bought an American brewery called Boulevard. And Boulevard made 4 was my Rye on Rye, and 3 was their 6 glass. Their Rye on Rye was just a 60% rye barrel, a 60% regular ale that they did. It was freaking amazing. And then they did the 6 glass was like an American quad, which was like the best American quad I've ever had, which is, I mean, there's some decent ones out there, but that one was great. And then number 2 is Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. because I don't need to say anything. And then number 1 is Goose Island Bourbon County Barley Wine, because I think the barley wine smokes the stout, in my opinion.
The albino rhino looks different.
All of a sudden he's changed.
He's got his pigment back.
Like some sort of other husband.
Yeah, the other husband walked in on me sitting in my underwear.
So how's that different from any other time?
I'm not sure I'm ever going to
He's
be.
wearing underwear this time.
It is better than Nick in his underwear, I will say that.
Apparently some things happened during the Rhino Fest that no one was privy to.
What happens at Rhino Fest stays at Rhino Fest.
Alrighty, so Nicholas, your list.
Alrighty, so top 5 beers by companies owned by macro companies. Dun, 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 dun. And this is actually going to sound a fair bit like Lee's because the selection's similar here. I could dot the entire list of beers by Unibrew, but I'm only going to pick one of them because I think I only picked like one brewery from each one anyway on this list. And I'm going to go with Unibrew 17 because of all the Unibrews I've had, that's the best. That was the top one for me. I haven't had a chance to have Bourbon County from Goose Island, but I did mention Goose Island on this list. I had their Goose Island Sophie, which is a farmhouse ale, which is damn tasty. And I suppose you could probably count this on the regular macro beers list if you're thinking like Hopbot. It's kind of like, sorry, not Hopbot. Oh fuck! What are the Hop City is kind of like Rickards, right?
Mm.
But in a way, they're a crafty brewery, kind of owned by Moosehead as well. So I counted a Hopbot IPA because I love that one.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly valid.
And Hoegaarden, that was a good one as well. Pilsner Urquell, Sab Miller owns them.
Yeah.
And I gave an honorable mention to Affligem Blonde, which is part of Heineken.
Oh yeah, Affligem. Fuck,
Yep.
I forgot all about those ones.
And that's my list.
Right on.
Awesome. Yeah, what do we have left? Greg.
You guys have had some really good beers on your list. Sadly, I haven't tried most of them, so mine's a lot more boring than yours. Number 10, Creemore Oktoberfest. To me, it didn't really taste like Oktoberfest, but it was a nice beer to drink when I bought a 12-pack of them for the Thanksgiving weekend. This one I'm not even sure if it falls into this category, but Newcastle Brown. Is that craft or crafty, or is that full-on macro?
I don't know who owns Newcastle. Isn't it Heineken or someone like them that own them now?
Sure, that macro in its own right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Heineken owns them. I think.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I think it owns at least a part of them.
Yeah, you could argue Newcastle was more like a traditional regional brewery. So I mean, and like crafty stuff like that. It's kind of different over in England and Europe. Like the definition's kind of more cloudy. So I'd include it on the list. I think it's valid.
Yes, that's
Yeah, well,
not
Not by Heineken.
It's not brewed by Heineken.
Well, not brewed by, but it's distributed by.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry.
And mainly that made my list because whenever I go to Vegas, that's a guaranteed beer they have in every single place you go there, and it's pretty decent for what it is. Then number 8, Hop City Lawn Chair Classic Vice. I know Hop City is a little bit cheating, but I thought their beer was, as far as wheat beer goes, was pretty decent. Then I got Creemore Lager, which I think is by far the most consistent of the Creemore beers. It's pretty much always tastes the same, whereas some of the other ones on the list are better usually, but sometimes they taste really off. Then I got Creemore Urbach on top of that. Then Hop City Hotbot IPA. Then I got Creemore Keller beer, which is, to me, the best Creemore product if you get a good one, because I've tasted some really bad Keller beer and some really good Keller beer. Number 3 is Hop City 8th Sin Black Lager, which is my favorite Hop City product to date, which is kind of strange because I don't really like black lagers for the most part, but this one to me almost tastes kind of like a watered down stout, and I enjoyed it. Hoegaarden, or Hoegaarden as I prefer to pronounce it, is number 2. And number 1 is the Unibrow 17 Grand Reserve, because that's a really good beer, and I kind of feel like I'm cheating putting it on this list. But
No, it's perfectly valid. It's owned by Schliemann, and Schliemann's basically a macro company, and then it's owned by Sapporo. So honestly, it's like double.
Not cheating. It's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Jakob, you know what we're doing? Can you think of any off the top of your head?
Well, I'm trying to think about some, but I'm thinking like I don't know if I can use these, but I think Neuner is now owned by Hanseborg Brewing Company or Brewing Corporation, so they are technically macro now. And just thinking about Bonoliul and Dark Horizon is, well, amazing, but it's from the time before they were macro, so it's kind of hard. But as others mentioned, Goose Island, fantastic, even after they were bought up. And this summer I actually had a experience. I was working as a guide here in the city, and there's, as you might have heard, the beer scene is horrendous. So the only beer I had the pleasure of enjoying this summer, and I really mean enjoy, like feeling like you get something decent, was a Hoegaarden. So definitely a Hoegaarden. And the best macro lager or macro owned beer I'm not sure, I need to Google it, but Bitburger Pilsner. I think they are owned by a consortium, or they are part of a consortium. It's a German brewery, and I think they're owned by a consortium of, a huge consortium of breweries, or maybe a part of a consortium. But that's the best Pilsner I've had in recent memory, anyway.
Which one was that? Sorry, my computer lagged out right there.
Bitburger.
Ah, Bitburger. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's. I think that was 5 beers. Neuner, Bonoliul, and Dark Horizons, Goose Island, Bourbon County Stout, and Hoegaarden and Bitburger Pilsner.
Alrighty. So myself, again, after 27 some odd 100 beers, I had a fairly big sample size to play with, and I put one of these in here just for Lee because I thought he'd like it a lot. So my special mentions would be the Blue Moon Gingerbread Spiced Ale, Left Royale, which I just had last night, Unibrew La Fin de Monde, and actually the great thing about that is it's going to be coming out in a 6-liter bottle in the LCBO for $105 a bottle. Which is hysterical because you can buy 6 liters of Le Fin de Monde for $44 at the beer store.
Yeah, fuck that.
Buy that for next year's fest.
The $44 or the $105 worth?
$44. I'm not drinking from the same bottle you fuckers are drinking from. Come on.
And anyway, the one that I thought that Lee would really like is the Granville Island Lions Winter Ale with that nice.
You're a fucking dick. You're a dick.
So my list, number 10, a Flegum Double, and a Flegum owned by Heineken. Did I freeze out?
No.
Okay. Number 9, I cheated. Number 9 is Creemore Erbach and Keller beer, both Molson Coors. 8, Hoegaarden from AB InBev. 7, Unibrow's Trois Pistoles, Lehman Sapporo. 6, Left Reduce, AB InBev. 5, Leinenkugel's Big Eddie. I'm glad that you said it, Matt, because now I don't have to stab you. SAB Miller.
Which
Number 4.
Big Eddie? Which Big Eddie, though? You said this Leinenkugel's Big Eddie. Which one?
I just had the regular Big Eddie.
I thought they did a Russian Imperial than Oktoberfest.
Okay, it was the Russian Imperial. It was
Okay.
I didn't know they did a Oktoberfest with the same thing. That's just fucking stupid.
They actually did an IPA, too.
Why? Why don't you give it a different name?
Well, it's Line Cool's Big Eddie line.
Well, fuck
Uber
Line Cool's Big Eddie
Oktoberfest.
line. Fuck it. It was the Scout. Fuck you guys. Anyway, number 4, Unibrow 17. Number 3, the Beer Academy is Belgian Brown, so Molson Coors is the Beer Academy in Toronto. Number 2, Hop City's Hop Bot Moosehead. And number 1, everything I've had from the Goose Island Bourbon County line.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So, there you go. See, we're not complete snobs. We can make up a list of non-craft.
Yeah, but the only reason those big companies bought them is because they made good beer to begin with.
True.
Yeah. It's when we talked about it last week. I was like, okay, this is going to be easy. And the macro one was really hard, and then the macro one was really easy. Like, I was like, at first I'm like, oh, I'm going to be able to get 10, and all of a sudden I'm like at 15. Okay.
Yeah, I was able to get a lot, especially when I started researching who owned what, because there was some of them that I wasn't sure of. And I mean, when you look into it, there are, like I said, if I had went with Duvel, if I had accepted Duvel as a macro company, they do Leafmans, they do so many things that I could have added on there. Omegang's 3 Philosophers and stuff. Like, there's just so much stuff they make.
Now, why did you guys decide not to include them, though?
Well, just because of their barrel size. Their barrel size is smaller than most craft breweries.
Okay.
Yeah. My list, I found it really hard to do. Top 5 macros, I was like digging for that for like almost an hour trying to think of shit. And the top 5 owned by macros,
to do it.
yeah, and top of 5 owned by macros, like I could only do it like I could probably do like a top 20 list, but I mean it would almost all be fucking Unibrew and stuff like that. So it's like, do I want to list all the Unibrew beers, or should I try to find some like exclusive ones from different breweries and just make a really good pointed down list or whatever? So it's like, yeah.
I found the regular macro list a lot easier because I haven't tried a lot of these good beers that you guys are mentioning. Like, haven't had anything from Goose Island, haven't had a whole lot from Unibrow. So, my list pretty much consists of Hop City, Creemore, and a couple other things that are inserted here and there. But I haven't tried too many of these really good crafty beers. So I'll have to fix at some point.
That's right. You need to fix your problem, sir.
I do.
We got a bunch of comments here.
Read on, good sir.
First, Average Joe says, definitely nobody else trolling. Wait, I mean, commenting. Simon is spamming you. Could we possibly get a top 10 list of the beers he's stolen from other people? Oops, wrong Simon. Yeah, I think it's a different Simon here.
Yeah, it was the punter. It was the punter spamming me.
Yeah. Joe says, also, I think for next week's show or a future show, a top 10 brewery list would be awesome. We could break it down to region and then overall, but I think it'd be really interesting and difficult to break down. The beer list is easier, in my own opinion. If you absolutely love one beer from a brewery, but not love 3 to 4 from one, which do you choose? Just a thought. That's actually a good one.
Or maybe you have a best overall, like a best from top to bottom brewery instead of doing just, oh, I love this beer from this brewery. This beer would be like, this brewery makes all good beers. Make that list.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one to consider. Winter is Coming says, I'm taking a road trip north next week and stopping by the 3 breweries in the area. Muskoka, Sawdust City, and Lake of Bays. Anything special I should look out for?
Here's the first thing. You should just skip the last one and just hit the first 2 and stay at those 2 long.
Well, you don't want to get any of that, the hockey alumni beer?
Oh, they're doing a CFL alumni beer now, too.
Oh, no.
Okay, so basically the consensus is stay away from Lake of Bays.
Anyway, Muskoka should still have some oddity left. They may have some of that barrel-aged Mad Tom left because they're out in the middle of nowhere.
I was gonna say that sounds awesome.
They did just start selling their Winter Beard, and they're going to start bringing out the Winter Beard vintages. So that's another one, but the vintages are fucking super expensive.
$20 for last year's beer.
Yeah. Again, if they have the oddity, it's great to pick up. If they have the regular Winter Beard, it's great to pick up. They said they're going to have some Winter Jack again this year too, which is the Winter Beard Jack Daniels barrels. That's worth a pickup too. Sawdust City, if they have any of the blood of left, that grab that. They're actually the only ones selling the 1105 this year. This year it's being sold there and not at Nickelbrook. The 1105 this year is a triple IPA. So, like IPAs, it's worth a drink. They have their Skinny Dipper Stout. The Sawdust City Sam and Spinney make some amazing beers.
Good beer.
And anything they have is worth grabbing.
Okay. Joe says, you haven't tried the Bourbon County I sent you, Nick? Don't listen to Matt. It's terrible aged, apparently.
All right.
Okay. And Yort says, Heineken is great on tap at the brewery. Canadian U.S. version is shit, or shite, as he puts it. He also says
the same version. It's just the aging.
He also says
great. You're getting it fresh. You're getting it right there, right off the line.
he also
Fresh
says
steam whistle's amazing.
he says Creemore Urbach is enjoyable. Unibrew's Maudit and the Bourbon Counties. So if he's in agreement with those ones, winter is coming. This goes back to the other question about Sawdust City. I read that Nickelbrook and Sawdust City are doing a collaboration triple IPA thoughts, and I think we just gave the thoughts on that one. So
yeah, last year they did a barley wine, and the barley wine was sold in 750 milliliter bottles at Nickelbrook. The cans are actually being sold at Sawdust City, and they actually canned it so it will have a better shelf life, and they're only 500 milliliters, so you might not be spending $11, $15 a fucking bottle.
Yeah, the barley wine from last year is actually still available. I picked one up about 2 weeks ago at Nickelbrook. Haven't tried it yet, though.
It doesn't age as well as you would think.
No? Well, it's already 2 years old when they sold it to me, because apparently it was made in 2012.
Yeah. I have one bottle left for next year's festival sitting over there. Oh, apparently the Downtown Business Association of Ridgeway cheered when they voted for whether or not they would accept the beer festival next year.
Really?
It sold out how many hotel rooms? I mean, let the list begin. It was one of the #1 talked about events in Ridgeway. It did better than Ridge Fest for numbers in that area. For hotel reservation.
And they shut them up, and they all voted yes, and started cheering. Whatever he wants to do, let him do, is what they said.
Yeah, I believe it.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I mean, anything that brings 1,000 people into your city that wouldn't have been there for ice caves is good.
Any other comments there, Lee?
He's
Oh,
gone.
he's gone. He ran. He bolted.
Are you? When are you gonna snap into that woolly bugger barley wine?
Oh, you know what? The woolly bugger. Here's the thing, right? This is the first time I've had actually. Reviews. I'm trying to review stuff, but when it's something that's like 10, 14, 18% alcohol, I can only do one.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm drinking the whole bottle. So it just keeps sitting. I mean, I still have Mill Street's barley wine from last year sitting in the fridge
Yeah,
too.
me too.
Because I have all these 5% beers or IPAs that go bad and all that, and I have to do them before I do the big barley wine. And so Woolly Bugger I'm going to get to, but who knows when. Maybe I'll end up doing a fucking vertical with this year's version if it hits the LCBO.
Well, I was gonna say it's pretty smooth, pretty nice.
No, I always mean to get to it. I never mean to have stuff sit there that long, but it's just that when I'm doing them alone all the time, and with my job, I can't drink and go into work ever. And with the kids, I don't drink when I'm watching the kids, so I have 2 nights a week to drink, and one night I'm doing this so I can review tomorrow night. And again, if I get one review out, then I have a whole week of nothing until I can review again.
Right.
You'd think I can do some when I get home from work, but I get home at 3 a.m. and then I have to be up at 7 a.m., so I can't.
It's not doable. It's not a review, it's just to enjoy it for having one.
I got one more comment here from Scott Price. He's listing his 5 favorite from basically breweries owned by big macro companies. His favorites were Lef, Hoegaarden, Unibrew, Le Fin de Monde, and since now it's technically owned by a macro company in the UK, pretty much anything except for the Dr. Thirsties from Witchwood. God damn it, Dr. Thirsties one of the ones I'm going to review, you motherfucker.
Dr. Thirsties was just severely boring, that's all.
And he also says Kuning Ludwig Weissbier. That's hard, like, to pick from, like, a lot of the European ones. It's really hard to see who owns who and who's this big and who's that big, because a lot of times it doesn't even list how many hectoliters a fucking brewery makes.
Yeah, it takes a lot of detective work to find out.
I didn't realize that Koenig Ludwig was even a macro-owned beer brewery. Otherwise, I would have mentioned that.
Yeah, although, I mean, Koning Ludwig, I mean, if I was to pick a European wheat beer, that's probably the one I'd gravitate towards, because honestly, that's been consistently, that's probably been my favorite one.
Yeah.
European wheat beers so far.
Frozen.
Fuck you guys. Fuck you. Hoegaarden is my European wheat beer of choice as of right now, but I haven't had many European ones.
Yeah, like Hoegaarden would be like second after Koning Ludwig for me, I think.
Good day, Jay.
Hello. Oh, there he is. Oh shit! Well,
you missed our topics tonight. We were talking about macro beers, our favorite
sorry,
macro beers.
I got hung up talking with somebody, actually, ironically, about a situation of a certain unknown origin. But
I know we were talking about our favorite macro brews and our favorite owned by macro brews this week.
He might actually be able to snap off lists just like that.
You have a list?
Right guy, man.
I probably could do that, yes. I was curious to see what y'all would say. Now, when you say macro, you just mean big beer companies, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. A top 10 list of macro beers? Yeah, I could make that list. But don't make fun of me now.
We didn't make fun of anybody yet. Joe did, so we didn't.
I'm just kidding.
Well, no, we made fun of Joe, too, just Joe's not here.
Yeah.
Where's Average Joe? Where is Average Joe?
He's trolling the comments section. He doesn't want to appear. He just wants to make fun of everybody and be a bitch. So.
Okay, before I go on to list my videos, I want to say hello to everybody. And I did find the video about Old English 800 to be particularly interesting. But
you found that amusing, did you, sir?
I found it worrisome because I thought to myself, this is like somebody setting off an atom bomb. There's going to be a lot of repercussions there, too.
Well, there won't, because the guy I set off the atom bomb towards is blocked, so he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, but I think he got mad at me because he blocked me.
Oh, well, I mean, is that a bad thing?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, but it was quite interesting. But going on to the topic at hand, I would say top 10 beers, and this is just off the top of my head, top 10 mass-produced beers. They could be lagers, ales, or anything, right?
Yes, yep. Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
How about okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go make some tea, and I'm going to come back to you. I want to think about it for just a little bit.
Okay. You go make your tea.
Talking. Hey, wait, I'll take that as an insult. You keep talking, because I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. I can hear you fine in the kitchen.
All right. Well, one of the other topics we were going to go on to is the, what was it, top 5 beer myths?
Yeah.
Busting,
Great topic.
busting the bubble. I read through this, and I actually find it hysterical because he's perpetuating his own myths by busting these myths on some of these things. Lee shared it to me. A lot of people have shared it to me this week. So I thought we'd look at some of them at least, some of the 10 myths. What do we have here? What's the first myth? India Pale Ale is so called because it was brewed for British troops in India and highly hopped to survive the journey by sea from Britain to India. He went on with that one. I don't think we really have to touch on that one. That's fought with by every blogger and every historian out there. Some of them say that it's true, some of them say it isn't.
Yeah. That's the thing. Is there really a conclusive answer to that one? Because I don't.
Well, no, I think it's the same as porter, right? There's no conclusive answer to exactly what a porter is.
Even if it were true, the hops would have faded on most of these beers by the time they made the trip.
Yeah,
Well, it
6
wasn't
months.
that the
6 month
hop
trip.
taste was there. It was the hops were used as a preservative, was what the myth was, and that's what a hop is. It is a natural
Yeah,
preservative.
it is. Yeah. But I mean, 6 months journey. Any IPA that went to India from England by 6 months, those hops were going to be faded as fuck. I don't care how many you dumped into the barrel. It's like. So, I mean, it's a weird one. I mean, that was where it was popularized. It was popularized with, fucking keeping shit preserved to send to India. So, I mean, I don't see a real problem with the idea that IPAs are generally the style that beers sent to India from England. I don't see a big problem with that idea, really.
When I talked to the local historian that I know from work, he said if you look at shift manifests, you'll very seldom ever see
Frozen people.
these were useful things. They might have sent the ingredients, but very seldom would they ever just ship a barrel of beer.
I was gonna say, why didn't they just ship the barley? You know what I mean? That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because it's real easy to get the manifests from ships that were dealing at the time, because the Crown recorded everything.
Yeah. Although if you ship the barley, that probably would have been eaten by fucking rats and shit. But before the time it got there, I mean,
A lot more space too.
yeah.
Space, you know.
I mean, fucking ships in that period, they were just full of fucking rats and shit. I mean, it was.
Well, the argument that it fills more doesn't hold because, a kilo of barley can amount to, what, 5 liters of beer, sorry. So you get more per kilo or per weight unit out of it. Instead of shipping 5 liters of liquid or 5 units of liquid, you only send 1 unit of, barley and get the same amount.
And you got to take into consideration that it's like, do you want to ship stuff to brew in India, or do you just want to ship the beer to the troops right away and give it to them right off the fucking ship, right?
And just to chime in on the whole rat barley thing, I don't know about that because
You're gonna boil it.
No, well, I'm just saying because New Jersey has a bunch of breweries. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of Marley and hops there, so.
Okay, myth number 2. This is actually one of the ones where I was talking about he's perpetuating his own myths by busting these myths. So myth number 2 is stouts are more heavy and caloric, and he goes on to talk about how Guinness stout is very light-bodied, very light, and light in calories. So he is taking the stout that is known to be the lowest caloric stout and is used with nitrogen to make it very smooth and creamy, but light at the same time and light in taste, and using that to break a myth by perpetuating a new myth that stouts are not heavier or more caloric. Thoughts?
It depends on the stove.
Very much so, it depends on the stout, but if you're going to use Guinness as your one and only measuring stick...
I mean, how many people consider Guinness stout at this point the standard bearer of stouts? I mean, it's still incredibly popular in most people's minds, but it's like I don't think too many people at this point hold it as a holy grail or anything like that.
I would say everybody who doesn't know beer does.
Yeah, that would be good.
But they might enjoy beer. What was the first myth?
The first myth was about IPAs and being brewed for
shipping.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we see some reviews people have done on authentic IPAs. They're actually like brown. They're not like what we're necessarily drinking, right, Rod? I saw you get one.
Well, the original IPAs were developed to ship to India back in the 1850s.
What was their alcohol content?
It's not a myth. I don't think it was terribly high. I think it was just hopped up a little bit to preserve the beer. And then when by the time it got to India, it probably wasn't that hoppy because it probably faded a little bit.
Yeah, that was my thought on it, because I mean, what would they be sending to British troops in India? They'd want to send their standard bitters, right? Like the stuff they're familiar with, the brown bitter beers and shit like that. So
Yeah.
basically, the only reason they put those hops in there was to preserve them. So it's not like they were trying to make a different beer or anything. They were sending the same fucking beers, but they were putting more hops in them to preserve them for the 6 months.
What they were drinking in Madras and Chandernagol and all of these cities in India was probably similar to what you would drink if you had Fuller's ESB.
Yeah.
Not
I think that's actually pretty accurate.
Not hop stupid or hoptimum.
Yeah.
That's an American recent development. Not that I'm downgrading any of those. Okay, the second myth. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Oh,
Well,
the stout bodies. Yeah, Guinness is hard to say because you've got Guinness Foreign Extra Stout. Why didn't the guy use Guinness Foreign Extra Stout as his baseline?
Because there's no, like he said, there's no way they'll spend that much money on a troop when they could fill it up with rum, which they turned into grog when they diluted it 20 to 1. We said it didn't happen. It just means they don't have any written stuff.
I mean, Guinness Draft is the one that everyone knows, so that's the one he picked. I mean,
Yeah, and he says, you know, the lower the ABV, the lower the caloric intake, which is usually true. But I mean, how many stouts are actually 4.2% alcohol?
Murphy's are
yeah.
Guinness.
Cobblestone is 5.
What's Beamish? Beamish is what, 4 something, isn't it?
What about the Amsterdam one, the calm before the storm? I think that's like.
But that's not a stout. That's a mild. They basically just took they did a second run mash. That's what they did. They just remashed.
Well, but it's true that most of the caloric intake comes from the alcohol.
I love freezing every time I'm in the middle of a conversation. I mean, it's like, hey, Chad's actually saying something with relevance. Fuck you, Chad. You can't talk anymore.
It seems whenever Joe comes up too, so I think he's fucking with you.
It's convenient.
I feel like that skit, that Chevy Chase skit in Spies Like Us, when he's at the press conference. You remember that?
Yes.
Anyway, what I was trying to bring up is the fact that when you look at most stouts and you're not looking at the big available everywhere stouts, you're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15% alcohol stouts.
Correct.
And they're heavy bodied. They're heavy bodied and they're heavy flavored.
Freeze.
It's like a joke now.
Yeah.
Freezer. Do.
Almost like Joe's controlling his internet.
Did I fucking fade out again right there?
Yes,
Yeah.
you did.
No, did.
Okay, anyway, I was saying you can't take Guinness Stout and say, hey, this proves that all stouts are low-bodied, because these stouts are all full-flavored, full-bodied, full of ABV, and that's what a stout normally is now. Not Guinness Stout, but most stouts.
Yeah, I drank a stout Monday night that would totally smash that guy's theory, because it was Tokyo Black Tokyo Horizon.
But then, I mean, the theory, the premise itself is just dumb. It'd be like, go to your store, grab a random beer with a certain label on it, drink it, and that's what you're going to base everything off of.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
You're right.
It's just like,
I'm going to drink Crack Canoe or Molson 67 for my light beer and say all light beers are just nothing but water.
Yeah.
Or Budweiser Select 55. Right. The whole point is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement to make. It'd be like saying all Western movies based in Mexico took place in the city of Saltillo.
Yeah, I just did that Monk's Stout from Belgium, the DuPont one. It was actually sweet. Tastes like marshmallows.
Marshmallow.
Yeah, tastes like burnt marshmallows. I don't think that was low in calories. 5.2.
No, and I don't think that Black Tokyo Horizon was low in calories, and I don't think the Black Albert was low in calories.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so myth 3, guys. Myth 3. Lagers are cheaper at the store, so they're cheaper to make. And he goes on talking about how they take a long time to ferment, and some of them do. I mean, craft lagers take a long time to ferment Macro lagers don't take as long to ferment because they do it a lot faster. In all honesty, for myself, I would rather a macro lager than a craft lager because of the price difference, and they basically taste the same, so why not pay for the macro instead of the craft, but whatever. But macro lagers are cheaper to make than craft lagers. Macro lagers are probably the cheapest things to make, period, because they're not using all malt. They're using corn, they're using rice, they're using corn syrup. Is it bad? Whatever. Some people hate it, some people don't. It's fine. I'll drink it. I mean, hell, some of my top macro beers were corn sodas. I'm okay with that. But yeah. So thoughts on this? Are lagers actually cheaper to make?
I'll drink it if it tastes good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
I'm willing to bet half the time it's the fact that they can buy in volume. Their distribution's already established. It's way cheaper to bring to market. I mean, in ingredient cost alone, they're probably going to save 30%.
Yeah.
The volume they order, marketing is...
Right, it's probably cheaper per scale, like cheaper per volume.
I mean, honestly, if I could buy a 12-pack of Pilsner or Kel here in Nova Scotia, I'd buy that shit all the time. I would. I don't care what the fucking price is. I'd buy that before I'd buy a 12-pack of, like, Moosehead or anything else. But, I mean, is there a massive difference between North Americanized Pilsners compared to European ones? Not really. I mean, at the end of the day, you'll get those like really cheap shit like Busch and those budget lagers and stuff like that. You should stay away from that crap, definitely. But I mean, I'll drink fucking Coors Banquet. I'll drink fucking PBR, and I'll enjoy it just as much as I enjoy like Pilsner or Kel or something along those lines. I mean. So it's not that massive a fucking difference, really, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, see, I can understand his argument if he's just looking at craft breweries. I mean, yeah, a craft brewery, you're taking up tank space for 3 to 8 weeks instead of 1 to 5 weeks. So yeah, that is time and money. But when you're looking at a brewery that's going to be turning this around with all their enhanced yeasts and everything in like 2 or 3 weeks, they don't care.
Yeah.
No. They don't care. Hey, do you consider Fuller's macro or micro?
That's a different. I think the definition is weird in England, though.
I'm sorry, you froze.
And you just froze.
I said it was
Yeah. The question.
I'll start doing the videos again from upstairs. My wife sent me down here, but upstairs my computer doesn't freeze.
Yeah. The question was from Jay. Do you consider Fuller's macro or micro? I consider them
micro.
Yeah, I was saying it's kind of a weird definition in England because they don't really have like that craft beer definition in England so much. Like so
well,
it's different
in Europe in general.
Yeah. But I'd say they're a traditional craft brew kind of thing, really.
You know what would be really fun to do? Go ahead and get everybody. Get Peter, get Jakob, who's here, get you guys, get everybody out there that actually reviews beer. Get some of the beer writers out there to actually define craft versus.
Well, like Chad was saying, you guys base it off of production of hectoliters or whatever of beer they produce, but that's also an arbitrary number because I mean, let's say you're talking about a country or an area that doesn't have that many people, but they're the macro brew of that area.
Right? Moosehead's considered a macro company here in Canada, but if you look at their production's lower than Sam Adams.
Yeah. So that would actually be something to like build, like to look in future too for episodes. If we get we get Jakob, we get Peter, get David, get Beer Goggles.
And then another question about the whole thing is, does the definition even matter?
Well,
what matters to you? Is it the definition, or is it if the beer is good? Because for me, it's if the beer is good. I would rather support a local brewery, but if their beer isn't as good as a macro company beer, I'd rather buy the macro company beer.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
The brass tacks is you want to buy good beer at a good price, no matter who makes it. So really, what you're talking about is a discussion of just what's what. I mean, it's really a discussion point because then if you need brass tacks, there's all these macro companies made Bourbon County barley wines and all that kind of stuff, then it would be a moot point. But right now, it's just a discussion point.
But I think we really do, like, for a future episode, we should really try to get like a European and like especially like British centric people on the panel to talk about it.
Well, then you need to do it a little earlier, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It'd have to be like at like 6 or 7 o'clock our time to get most people. Although Terry K's up at like 3 a.m. his time, so.
Okay, what's the next? What's the next abomination? Oh, the next one is the shaker pint is an abomination. Is the myth he's breaking, and he's talking about how the shaker pint is the pint that is known to everybody. And this, truthfully, do I care if my beer is served in a shaker pint? If I'm ordering normal beer, no. If I'm ordering a $10 or $15 glass beer,
yeah.
Do I want it in a nice glass? Yeah. Do I think it actually really changes my $5 fucking Spiegel Tiku, and you can serve me PBR? PBR is still going to taste like PBR in that Tiku.
I don't know if I 100% agree with that. That sort of sounds like the same fucking argument as like drinking it ice cold or drinking it warm. I think you would get a bit more out of PBR from like a slightly curved glass than you would a fucking shaker. I think shakers are pretty much bullshit, suck fucking glasses.
Yeah,
well,
you might get something you don't want.
And that's the
Oh
point.
yeah, true. But I mean, when I'm fucking drinking a beer, I want the real fucking beer. I don't want something
the guys that are usually the most.
Holy fuck, he's really freezing up.
Okay, I have
serve my beer.
top 10.
Like, I'm against shakers, but I serve my beer in a dimpled mug. I serve my beer in a Frankfurt mug. They're all the exact same thing. They just look a little better.
Well, I guess I think there's a time and place also with pint glasses in British pubs and stuff like that, where you get your pint of cask ale in pint glasses, and it doesn't bother me at all because that's how it's served. So, of course, there's some difference to the beer, but it's boring British anyway. So,
I mean, for me, like you draw a big X, and then on one side of the X, you have like beer that you're not going for taste, you're going for purpose, and the other one you're going for purpose, and then you know what I mean, and then taste, and then there's an X in the middle, and that's where the glass can change over. You know what I mean? Like you're like like a shaker glass is fine. If I'm in a bar having a bunch of beers and just dumping a bunch of beer around and having a blast, and I'm not worried about enjoying the beer from a nose, you know what I mean, taste and everything standpoint. But if I'm going to drink a beer when I know what.
I'm not arguing that a fancy glass does not change the experience. It does change the experience. It changes the visual appeal. It can change the aroma, but taste itself, I don't think it changes at all.
No.
All I'm going to say is that, I mean, I prefer to drink in a fancy glass if I'm drinking a fancy beer, but at the end of the day, if I want to drink, a Bellwoods Bring Out Your Dead and all my nice glasses are dirty, I'll put it in a shaker glass and I'll enjoy it.
See, I'll watch one.
We did a blind tasting at the college. What we did was we did a whole bunch of different glassware, and we did it so they were blindfolded and they couldn't touch the glass. It was somebody else touched the glass for them each time. Nobody said it tasted any different. There was a beer writer who brought up the fact that he did the same thing, and they went through like 8 different glasses, and what they noticed a difference in aroma by the bold glasses, which I can accept. Yeah, he's like, but taste, I don't know, and I'm like, well, blindfold yourself and do it, and come back with your results. Like, it's just one of those things. When you're not noticing it, when your mind isn't going, this is it. It's the same with blind taste tests of beer itself. Your mind isn't going, oh, this is going to be better because it's in this glass.
But again, smell has part to do with it.
Aroma I can accept because I've noticed an aroma change.
Yeah.
The bold glass or a Tiku or anything like that does make the beer look nice. Flavor, you don't need to spend $40 on a glass to make the beer taste good.
But I don't think anybody's arguing the point that the taste changes. It's this either smell or, you know what I mean, everything else beyond taste. I think that's what everybody else is trying to say, that it doesn't matter in that aspect.
Well, the fact is that a lot of the taste nuances that we perceive or taste actually is from the aroma, is directly connected to, aroma smells. So there is some, I think, reality to it, but I'm not certain.
I think it makes a difference, but the difference is so minuscule.
Look,
There's
if you
Go
put
ahead.
Budweiser in a Tiku, I mean, what are you gonna get? You're gonna get a lot of stuff that you necessarily wouldn't get if you're drinking Budweiser out of a fucking pint glass shaker or whatever. And I mean,
See, I don't think you'd get a lot of stuff you wouldn't get out of a shaker because Budweiser doesn't have much to it. It's
I think you get
it's there. It's a beer. It's a light-bodied, light malt.
Yeah, I would actually argue that something light like Budweiser or something along those lines, say Steam Whistle or something, would actually benefit more than a big beer would from a fancy glass, because those beers have such subtle flavors and aromas. I know it's all junk aromas and all that, but to smell them, you really kind of have to concentrate. Whereas a big barley wine or a big stout, you get those smells, you get those flavors regardless of where you're drinking from.
Let me say this to you. Sometimes when I drink the high gravity malt liquors, I like to drink them out of my Westflater 12 glass, and it does seem to improve the flavor. Now, that could be some kind of mental thing, but it does seem to taste better than just like if I was guzzling it out of the can, and I don't know why that is.
When it comes to beer, like, you got carbonation, right? Like with your ice glasses, right? So some beers, carbonation is going to affect what's going on in your mouthfeel and with everything, right?
Well, that is one of the reasons I pour my beer into a glass no matter what. I mean, sometimes I don't like the smell that's coming off of it, but I pour my beer into the glass just to release some of the carbonation.
Right. Now, wait, who is that just talked just now?
Berserker?
Your best friend, the Berserker.
Berserker.
All right.
But here, from a brass tack standpoint, when if you have a goblet or a tulip or whatever, you have a rounded container, and basically what happens is the vapors don't escape easily. They have to travel around. They sit around. If you have something that's shaped like this, they just immediately escape. So if you're going to have a good beer that's going to trap in a vapor, and when you go to smell it, you're going to smell more. If you have a shaker glass, you're not going to smell more if you just put your nose above it and then smell it. But if you're going to drink it, and when you're drinking it, you're smelling it at the same time, it's a little bit different. Like you're talking about earlier, you have to have smell. Smell absolutely has a lot to do with taste, but it's a little bit different. Smelling and tasting are different, but smelling and tasting at the same time are closer together. So there's there's more of a, it's less of a difference than from smelling to tasting than smelling and tasting at the same time.
Yeah, and with macro beers, you have to take into consideration what fucking temperature you're drinking them at. I mean, if you're drinking a fucking super cold Budweiser, it doesn't matter what fucking glass.
A lot of people get blown away too. Like if you go to Italy, they drink wine out of a tumbler.
You just didn't.
Wow.
When you do wine tours, right? People get blown away by that. 'Cause they're like, oh, I was expecting a wine glass, and they're drinking wine out of a tumbler. That's Italy.
Wow.
They're like the countries that like fancy food and shit, and they'll drink wine out of a tumbler.
That's funny. Hey, Chad, I have my top 10.
Okay, go on your top 10, and then we'll go to the next set. Let me get my pen out just to mark things down.
Here's the top 10 macro beers. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3.
Are you reading them to yourself? Or?
I'm just frozen. No, okay, kidding. I'm just kidding. All right.
And the worst thing is he's learned how to troll, and I think that's bad.
Create a monster.
Just kidding. All right, number 1, Staro Pramen.
The what?
Staro
Staro
Ramen from Germany. I think Germany.
Nope.
I think it might be the Czech, isn't it?
Might be
Yeah,
Czech.
it's Czech. It's Czech.
Staro Ramen. Oh well, that was part of the German Confederation from 1815 to 1866. Anyway, all right.
Nice getting all technical.
Staro Ramen. All right, Birra Moretti,
We got that here.
Tecate, Carlsberg Elephant, Wexford Cream Ale, Orion from Okinawa, Japan, Worthington's Red Shield, Worthington's White Shield, Murphy's Irish Stout, Guinness Foreign Extra Stout, and then honorable mention is Busch Signature Copper Lager, Peroni Nastro Azzurro, and Tiger Lager.
Nice. I actually had Worthington's White Shield on my short list and forgot to even put it in the honorable mentions. I actually really like that beer.
And Tiger's the shiznit.
Tiger.
I love that Tiger beer.
Okay, guys, ready for myth 6?
Yep.
Yes.
Before Pasteur, all beers was sour. Okay, so here is the thing with this. If you talk to any historian, and if you go to say the Black Creek Pioneer Village in Toronto, Ontario, who actually brews just like they would brew in the 1800s. They actually have a brewery set up just like the 1800s. Wood-clad pots and all that, because wood helped insulate, because they didn't have copper. They didn't use copper back then. And the flat to pour your beer out on to lower the temperature before you put it in your barrels and all that. They would talk about the
Frozen.
They didn't dump things out back then. You didn't have a consumer representative to say, "Oh, your beer was bad. Here, let me replace it for you." And he admits that of his 6 barrels, 1 barrel has an infection in it. He doesn't know which barrel it is, but he'll keep brewing that way because that's the way they've always brewed. So that's the way he's going to brew. So yeah, there was a great chance for souring because of non-pasteurization. I mean, you can go and buy a craft beer that is non-pasteurized, that's sat out in the warmth for 2 or 3 days, and it's gone sour. I don't understand where he's trying to go with this. All beer would never always be sour, but without refrigeration, there is a good chance it's going to be that way, and it's going to be served.
Yeah, that's a bullshit statement. Like, it really is a bullshit statement. It's like, all beer was sour before pasteurization? No, fuck you,
Yeah, that's
you're an idiot.
craziness. That's craziness.
We've all had infected beer, right? From
Yeah.
the brewery, modern brewery. I've had it.
If that was the truth, no one would be fucking drinking beer at this point. Like,
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you will get sour beer, but not all beer is going to be sour.
No.
Well, they
and
kind of.
the intentional sours are usually decent drinking beers. They're not sour as in bad sour, you know.
But I mean, back then, the way they did things back then, was like Dark Horse. They would give you a King of the Forest.
Hello, it's Ethan.
Hello.
Ethan, what's going on?
Not much. How are you guys doing tonight?
Fine. I really enjoy Ethan. I enjoy watching your videos, and I want to say, Jacob, I really admire your videos that you make too, also with your partners.
Thank you.
What's up, Ian? How you doing, brother?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, he's from America.
He's from America.
America. He's not just from America. He's from Cleveland or Ohio, right?
Ken, the Hall of Fame city.
American
One of my best friends lives in Alliance.
Football Hall of Fame. That's more America than anything.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7. Number 7 was eating a mixture of brewer's yeast and yogurt before drinking will counteract intoxication. That one.
It's a Jim Koch special.
Pardon? was going to say, the way he busts that isn't very scientifically proven. Is it scientifically proven that it works? No. Is it scientifically proven it doesn't work? No. Do I care about that myth? No.
No.
Brewer's yeast and yogurt, go right the fuck ahead. Eat your brewer's yeast and yogurt. See what happens. I don't give a shit.
You're gonna get drunk as fuck.
Violent Bear wouldn't last long.
That's supposed to be a top fucking myth. I'd never heard of that shit before it was on the fucking list.
That is, of all the myths on here, that is the one I've never heard.
You've never heard of that? Where that myth comes from is about a year ago in Esquire magazine. They interviewed Jim Koch from Sam Adams, and they asked him. He does all.
Oh yeah, it's talking about Jim Koch talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they talk to him about like how do you do all these like Great American Beer Festivals and all these tastings, and you never get like really drunk. And he's the one who actually said he had a friend who was a chemist or some kind of guy, and he actually set him up with this concoction, telling him to eat brewer's yeast with yogurt, and that would kind of turn some of the alcohol into something else to the point where it actually wouldn't make you drunk more. But it's been
alcohol or whatever.
It's been disproven on an actual like chemical level from actual like legitimate scientists.
Jim Koch needs to shut the fuck up. Is so saying.
Okay, well,
Yeast is used to create alcohol with sugars. That doesn't absorb alcohol, so I think that that's got to be a fallacy, right? That can't be real.
What kind of yogurt did he eat?
Well, the fallacy is the yeast will turn alcohol into something else, but it can't survive in the stomach. So that's it.
It's like, what are you doing? You're throwing a bunch of dead yeast in your stomach. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, psychosomatic, man. Psychosomatic matter.
We'll take the sugars and absorb and turn.
What we're gonna do is at the next beer festival, when all these motherfuckers are here, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of brewer's yeast, and I'm gonna put it in all their food, and I'm not gonna tell them. We're gonna do a test ourselves.
Put a little aside for me because I like to snort my brewer's yeast. Thank you.
Yeah, brewer's yeast challenge. Call out video.
You better get more than
then
one.
you can do all the coke you want. It's like fine.
Here's the thing. I'm not gonna eat at your place. I'm gonna eat at some other place.
And I'm gonna sneak it into your food there too. You don't know who I am. Hey, I'm
not going to Taps where you have an inn. I'm gonna find some other. I'll go to the fucking biker bar across the street and eat there.
Hey, I got roofied there. They know me.
And here's the thing. If there's any truth to the brewer's yeast yogurt thing, don't you think every fucking bar in America would have like, oh, here's some complimentary yogurt and brewer's yeast. Knock yourself out all night long.
Here's some yogurt-flavored peanuts.
Yeah, and just
Drive
be like...
home.
They do sell yogurt-flavored peanuts.
Yes, they do.
Oh, Jesus.
Picard has them.
Yeah, and Picard's is a brewery now, too.
Ramblin' Road. That's Picard's.
That's Picard's peanuts.
No shit.
Okay. Number 8 isn't even a myth. Number 8 is just completely and utterly your opinion, which is old IPA is undrinkable. There's not much beer that is undrinkable. We've drank a 30-year-old Bock. Does it have to be super fresh? It doesn't have to be. Does it have to be super fresh if you want to get every single flavor that some of these new age hops give off? Yes, but does it make it undrinkable later on? Not really.
Put the date, guys. Put the date, guys.
Yeah,
guys.
I agree.
I'm not buying this stuff anymore, guys, because the date's on this, not on this, guys. Bell's 2-hearted ale.
You know, you guys are going to get this whole biker gang after me. I hate you all.
The billion code.
I bet you're back on biker gang, so we're good.
Billion code.
Listen, guys.
No, Sierra Nevada they just started putting what is that, the dates right on the bottle. They literally put like what the month was, the day, and everything. I thought that was pretty impressive. I mean, I didn't know if anybody else noticed that on that.
Let's see what the first today is, guys. Sierra Nevada.
Wait, you're talking about the drink by stuff. Ethan, you're talking about drink by this day.
I don't know. I bought a Sierra
That's not the
Nevada
bottling
Torpedo,
date. It's the drink by date.
810 something,
Like, that's what they're talking about. Is putting a bottling
I don't
date.
know if it was the Best Buy date. I think it was like
No,
the
no,
on
not.
date.
No, sorry. I thought you were talking about Stone, where they do the enjoy by date.
No, I was talking about
every-
Sierra Nevada.
Everybody puts their drink by. Most people put like drink by.
Well,
dates,
here's
don't they?
innocent gun. There's no drink by date on
Well,
here.
Sierra Nevada did, but they did a Julian code. But now they're doing a more simpler. This is the month, this is the day, this is the military time of when they made it. So.
Stella Artois has a drink by date, but it doesn't tell you how long it's going to be good for before it turns to a skunk ass like it was on my.
Well, you just keep it in your window. Keep it open towards your window, and it'll be fine. That'll preserve it.
What else do we have here? We have Hogarden. Hogarden has a drink by date.
Clown shoes.
Yes. Drink by date is here on Hobgoblin, but no bottling date. So yeah, you know when it goes when they consider it going bad, but you don't know when they bottled it.
But I'd much prefer a born on date, because for me, a lot of beers, especially like you're talking about Belgian strong darks or barley wines, they're like, I don't want to drink by date. I want a born on date, because it's so, you have to go to the arbitrary 5-year rule with a lot of like European beers,
like I just bought the Saint Bernardist mixer pack. There was six different Saint Bernardists in the box, and I just bought it. I brought it home. Every one of them is drink by 2016. Well, when was it bottled? Was it bottled this year? Was it bottled last year and then sent to Canada? When was it bottled?
I always go about a 5-year rule. I mean, that's what I've always been told. Go by 5 years, but who the hell knows? And I want to know when it was, because I want my stuff to age, so I don't want to be like.
The odds of that happening are just about 0 too, because most retailers would lose their mind, because people will actually go into their shops, and if it's not made that week, they won't buy it, and it'll go bad on the shelves, even though it's not bad.
See, in my area, you find a lot of distributors that have.
Right now, you're talking to Matt. Everything has to be aged 8 years before I drink it, fuckers.
Yes, and there's a bunch of distributors out here that carry stuff that's like several years old on purpose.
Yeah.
So
that does.
but they're sending that stuff to specialized markets where the clientele's looking for that stuff. I mean, if you just have your casual person go into a beer store and they see this shit, they're gonna buy the freshest thing they can find possible. I mean,
if you got a good one chip dip when you go to the store, you're not taking the one that's older.
Yeah. I mean, it's the milkmaid in Clerks. It's the woman in the fucking milk fridge pulling the fucking the earliest date out and leaving all the jugs on the floor, right? I mean,
wait, come on, man! Try not to suck a dick through the parking lot.
I was going to say, in Michigan, there's
wildfire. Sure.
It's a liquor store that sells a bunch.
They're not going to have a shelf.
They've still got some bottles of the Unibrow Grand Reserve. I think it's the 2010 version. They still have those sitting on the shelves. I don't know if that's on purpose or they just never sold them.
Buy them. They're delicious.
Yeah, I would buy them. I'd fucking buy them.
I always buy stuff.
You know what, Greg? Go out and get those. Get them. Get them now.
Next time I'm there, if they still have them, this was about 8 months ago I saw them. If they still have them, I'll go and buy what they have.
Okay,
But if the
number 9.
IPAs, if the IPAs sat around too long, they wouldn't have proper hops.
Yeah, but does that make it undrinkable? That's that's his myth, that they're undrinkable.
No, you can still drink it.
It depends on the IPA. If it has a decent malt character, then it's going to be pretty awesome. One of my favorite IPAs, double or triple IPA would be like a Dogfish Head. 120 is great aged.
What's that BrewDog? The Real Strong Punk IPA. It's the real strong one. It's called
Penguin.
Not Tactical Penguin, but it's
Paradox.
It's pretty strong. It's not.
You guys got Tactical Penguin in Nova Scotia. Fuck you, Lee.
Yeah, fuck you, because I can't get it, because I'd have to go to the city to get it, so fuck you.
Anyway, they had the BrewDog Punk IPA at the grocery store, and it was like about 5 or 6 years old, and it still was pretty good, and it did have some hop character, which I was impressed by.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, but the Punk IPA is best. 2 or 3 weeks off the line, it's just whoa.
Right, but it was interesting to have a 5 or 6 year old aged version. To tell you the truth, they just gave it to me. The grocery store said, "Here, you can have it." They gave me.
Because I've had
They gave me 2 4-packs of it, and it was interesting. You know, it was old. It was old, but it was one of them blew up on me. But
Okay,
but
I
the
feel.
The thing is, go ahead.
I just say I feel she gets some comments here because they're like 30 minutes behind now. Joe says, "How does Jay miss a show like this? Right up his alley. Wonder if he'll show up. List in tow." Well, there you go. There you go.
Stick to
Joe.
the future.
but I was doing my other show. I couldn't help it.
Aaron says, "TIL Mill Street barley wine is barrel aged. Not that it does it any good." Joe says, "Lee, that really hurts. Don't be mad at me because Jakob is upstage you when it comes to your wastelands." Fuck you, Joe. Yours says, "Lee certainly dropped the mic on that Old English 800 vid." Yeah, I dropped a couple mics there, whatever. We'll see if anything happens. Devin says, "For interrupting the beer miss, or interpreting the beer miss, you're out of your element, Ronnie, apparently." Robert Wolf says, "If it's not Scottish crap, oh yeah, Yamazaki single malt sherry cask 2013 named #1 whiskey in the world, end of civilization." I'm not sure what that's in relation to.
It's not a Scottish single malt that's now the best whiskey or best single malt in the world.
Okay. Jason says, "Hi guys, sorry I'm a douchebag and never get to be on the broadcast anymore. I've been busy in the last 6 months. Hopefully things will settle down in the next month or so. Just stopping by for tonight." Welcome, Jason. Get a goddamn mic and a camera and get on some of these shows, dude. Aaron says, "You're all wrong. Hashtag proper glassware trumps all." Joe says he approves of Jay's trolling. And Winter is Coming says, "Does the LCBO carry Bring Out Your Dead, or is it a brewery only?"
No, they don't carry it.
Okay.
Coming back to Woods on Friday.
Average Joe says, "I believe you asked
They'll be
Ethan
sold out
last
Friday."
year."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joe says, "If you asked Ethan what glassware to use, he'd say, any glass shall desire." Any glass you shall desire?
Any glass you shall desire!
Okay. And Jason Spears says, "Wasn't it activated yeast, not brewer's yeast, for that myth?"
Yeah. Even though it's activated yeast, it didn't do anything different. It's your stomach will kill the bacteria or the yeast no
You're
matter
not
what.
do that.
Look at that old that bottle.
Nice one.
Hey, who was it that said they were from Canton?
Right here.
I'll probably be in Alliance next week.
Yeah. I used to live in Boston Town. I mean, Alliance isn't really near there, but
Yeah. Well, as long as you didn't go to Marlington High School.
no, I went to Girard actually. Even though that's a little bit more towards Youngstown, but
Yeah. So,
Okay, myth number 9. Most pumpkin ales involve pumpkin at some point in the brewing process. And he goes on to talk about how pumpkin beers do not normally have pumpkin in it, it just has pumpkin spices. Now, I don't know what his sample size was, but most pumpkin beers actually do have pumpkin in it. I've had 75 pumpkin beers, probably 60 of them have had pumpkin in it. The main one that we've had didn't even say pumpkin spice, it did say pumpkin ale, and that was brought over by Nick. What was that? Was that
Oh, the Gahan pumpkin?
pardon?
Saying I brought something over, pumpkin-wise?
Yeah, what was the pumpkin beer you brought that didn't have pumpkin in it?
That was the Gahan pumpkin.
Okay, so
PEI. You're freezing on us.
that didn't have pumpkin in it. But yeah, I don't know what his sample size was, but most pumpkin beers that I've had have had pumpkin in it. Again, I've had about 75. I've had 15 that haven't had pumpkin. I've had 60-ish that have, and of the 15 I've had that didn't have pumpkin, about 14 of them. That I'm peeing in the sink.
I'm gonna go for Smith.
He dropped that perfectly. Perfect timing.
No, I mean, like, what that dude's myth is that most pumpkin beers don't have pumpkin in them. What I think he was basically trying to say, but kind of just fucked up, was most of it is typically pumpkin spice. It's not that there's not pumpkin beer in the beer, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of what you're tasting is pumpkin spice. And that's probably what he was thinking, but didn't have any basis to make
Right,
it.
I might be out of my element, but I think pumpkin itself doesn't have a whole lot of flavor.
I agree. I was going to say that. It's nutmeg and cinnamon and whatever you're tasting the most of.
But that's the thing, though. If that's the case, you would have squash beers and gourd beers and this beers. The reason why it's a pumpkin beer is not only the spice, but if you actually caramelize a pumpkin or roast a pumpkin, you will get taste out of it. You know what I mean? So you'll get a lot of
taste out of a lot of the pumpkin beers. You're just getting that creamy
mouthfeel, which is mouthfeel from the secondary sugars that are in the pumpkin. So the fact that pumpkin's in there does make a difference, as opposed to just being spices.
Right, but do you think anybody makes a pumpkin beer without spices?
Epic made their whatever their pumpkin. I can't remember what it was called, and it didn't have a lot of allspice or anything like that in there.
One of the best pumpkin beers I've had that tasted very minimal on spices was the Unta Punked beer, which was like tasted very pumpkiny and very little spices. But that's just me.
Yeah, I found that Buffalo Bill's original pumpkin ale had a very low level of spices.
That and Kentucky bourbon pumpkin ale. That was like mostly bourbon and barely any pumpkin whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a myth.
Elijah,
How about the myth is a myth?
pumpkin and Elijah Night Owl, and you can taste the pumpkin in that one. 9 pounds per barrel.
I say they should make some Thanksgiving beers.
With cranberry?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, every time they talk about pumpkin pie, that's what I think of. I think of Thanksgiving. I don't really think of, Halloween.
Right. Yeah, thanks.
A turducken beer.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Oh, we got a bunch more comments here. Average Joe says, "Cheers, Lee. Ric Flair, you're going down." Ric Flair, you're going down, son. That's the Rove's going to take that title from you, baby. Strange Brucing says, "Hey, Goose, looking like a hillbilly with pots and pans, flinging and a flanging." Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
He says, "Hey, Goose," but, it's, "Hey, guys. Looking like a hillbilly with pots flinging and a flanging." Comcast Internet. Aaron Doucette says, "Wrong. Anything past 2 weeks is a drain pour. I stick to 7 days just to be safe." Yours says, "By the way, fuck Greg Cook, Greg Koch, Greg Crotch, whatever the fuck his name is."
I think it's Cook.
I think it's Cook, but, whatever. We're Canadian, we'll pronounce it different just for the hell of it. Average Joe says, "Did Jay just troll proper hops? Awesome. You demand, Jay." And he also says, "Pumpkin has a slight earthiness, but it really affects the body more so than anything else," which is true. And pumpkin beers are mostly not flavor beers.
Well, and to touch on what that one person said about being a drain pour with the whole age thing, did you guys read about what Lagunitas is doing?
Hey.
No. They're making a beer called, where it's an experimental stage now. They're making a beer called Born Yesterday, where what it is they're gonna do a specialty thing where they brew a beer, and then you'll order it, and it'll be brewed, bottled, and shipped to you overnight. So you will get it within 24 hours of actually being
how much
bottled.
does that cost?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. I don't know any pricing on it, but from what I know of Lagunitas, all their beers are crazy awesomely priced. Like you're talking about a really good double IPAs for around like $12 for a 6-pack.
Yeah, but
so
you're overnight shipping it too, right? So you're probably looking at like $30 to $40 a bottle.
And that's the thing. I'll never get it myself, but the fact that they're doing it as an experimental thing, if people want to do it, knock yourself out.
And people will do it.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they'll make bundles.
Yeah, there's a market for it, and they'll make money off it, no doubt. So, I mean, more power to them, but I'll never indulge in that kind of bullshit.
No. But if one of my friends is dumb enough to do it, I'll try.
Definitely, yeah, good.
The last myth, guys, the first question I have to ask for you guys is how many of you have worked as a bartender?
No, I've worked as a glass picker. That's as close as I've gotten.
My parents owned a bar for years.
I've
Well,
been
the last
working.
myth is the Guinness two-step pour, and he goes on to say the Guinness two-step pour is for no reason whatsoever. Now, if you are at a bar and you're just doing the two-step pour with a normal tap, or you
Uh-oh.
Freeze and-
This is useful information. I'm writing this down.
if you have the proper setup, if you actually have the nitrogen tap set up, the two-step pour is this. When you pull it forward, there's a screen on it that aerates it that makes it go all white. So when you're at 3/4, you turn the tap off, and then you push the tap back. When you push the tap back, it moves the screen away, and then you get just non-aerated beer, which is where you get the beautiful creamy head that you're getting from a two-step nitrogen pour. So his thing is he's probably never actually or has never seen a Guinness on a proper Guinness tap. He's just seen a Guinness set up to a normal tap where you don't have a two-step system. But the two-step pour, that's it. You're pulling it forward, it's going through an aerator, it's aerating. You push it back, the aerator moves out of the way, and you're getting just straight Guinness.
So he's stupid as hell.
Yeah, he's out of his element, like Devin said earlier.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
Yeah, that sounds ridiculous to me.
Should we do next week a top 5 myths of that guy's myths?
Guys, I just solved the
Yeah,
beer.
that's like giving the food babe more attention. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
I just solved one of the great beer myths tonight. It turns out that Nickelbrook Whiny Bastard is better than Molson Canadian Cider.
Oh, really? Really? Holy shit.
Molson Canadian makes cider?
They do.
Sort of.
Okay, here's something else that came out. It was the U.S.'s top 25 breweries. It said,
Oh, here we go.
It said only breweries with an overall rating of 99% were considered. At least 15 active beers were required. Ranking was based on average beer score, and a minimum of 50 rankings were required. So I'm just going to read them out. Tell me if you've had them and if you think anything of them. I know that for myself, for Lee, for Nick, we'll probably, and for Berserker and Greg, we'll probably not have many of these. And for Jakob, he might have a couple of them. Anyway, first one is Beechwood Barbecue and Brewing. I've never even heard of this.
No.
That's number 25.
Nope.
Okay, 24 is Founders Brewing Company. Yeah, I've heard of them. I actually.
Yeah,
Who is that? Who is this, Founders?
awesome. Awesome.
Founders is overrated, though, I think.
No.
Nah, some of their stuff,
They got a couple.
Yeah.
some of their
They
stuff
got a couple
definitely
good
is.
sellers.
But their whole selection, they have like a Backwoods Bastard.
KBS.
KBS is the mediocre compared to Backwoods Bastard.
Yeah.
Whoa. What about Founders Porter?
Founders Porter, I think, is excellent.
And people gush over Breakfast Stout. I think it's one of the most overrated beers ever.
I think it's a good beer. Like it's not one of the best beers ever, but I think it's a pretty enjoyable beer.
But it's you're talking about being how much it's gushed over. I mean, I don't think it warrants that.
I think the thing is how
I'm on tap without ever knowing anything about it, and I quite enjoyed it.
I think the thing about the Founders big beers like KBS and stuff is like when they first came out, they were pretty much the cock of the walk. But since then, there's been so many better ones.
And it's a more of a thing where Founders now produces probably upwards of 30, 40 beers. I'm guessing, and then they produce 4 or 5 good ones. When you talk about other breweries, you're talking about quality within that.
Yep. Okay.
Everybody's not Pabst. Okay.
23 and 22 are both from Wisconsin. 23 I've never heard of. 22 I've heard of, but I've never had anything from. So 23 is Central Water Brewing Company, and 22 is New Glarus.
Heard of New Glarus.
Nothing.
Never had anything.
What state is that?
Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
New Glarus.
Cheese.
I like Wisconsin. I went to Wisconsin last year. Okay, go on.
All breweries. We're frozen. What I said is I'm right on the.
You just froze again.
Never heard anything about them.
Which one?
I don't know. Just says Tired Hands is probably the only brewery on this list that would also make the cut for best bread bakers.
That's number 22, Tired Hands.
21 was Tired Hands. 22 was New Glarus.
Oh, okay. What's 20?
Well, we're going to 20 right now. Three Floyds.
Nah. I've had it, but no.
I've had Three Floyds. They make some good beer. Top brewery in America, over 3,000 breweries? I don't know. But great.
I had their Dreadnought, and Dreadnought's awesome, but...
Yeah, I've had Zombie Dust. Zombie Dust was amazing.
I can't say I never had any other of their beers, so I can't.
I think somebody ought to make a beer called Drain Pour.
It has to exist.
Yeah, well, Drain Pour, I dare you. Then make an amazing out of it.
That would be a pretty good beer brand name.
Oh, I've heard of this one. I didn't know they were a brewery. I've heard of this place as a great pub to go to. Number 19 is Ebenezer's Brew Pub in Maine.
I don't think they make beer, though. I mean...
Yes, well, I've had it.
Well, you've had it because I did the Struce Black Albert was made for Ebenezer's Pub.
That's right.
But it was made in England, though. It was made in England, though, or Belgium. Sorry.
Belgium.
So, like, I didn't think they actually made beer.
No, well, what they said was when they first started, they were making beer, and then they got this company, Struce, to make the beer for them. But I think they do make their own beer also, But
yeah, it says Ebenezer's Brew Pub / Lively Brewing Company.
But that might be one of those phony baloney setups. You know what I mean? Like he's talking about. Like there might be some bullcrap with that, but it's an awesome beer, though. Got to say that.
Okay, number 18.
You cut out, Chad.
18 is Allagash. I've had beer from them. I didn't love it.
I'll tell you what, Allagash is fantastic.
I've had some Allagash, and I've been blown away by them.
Allagash
I've only had one beer from them, and it was their Belgian stout, and I didn't particularly like it.
Allagash, I've had a ton of it. They had really good distribution in my area, but we're talking probably about like 15 years ago. We were getting 750s of their double and their Grand Cru, and you're popping them off at like $5 to $7 for 750. So it was like this amazing beer, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. Now it's starting to work itself out back in this area. It's from Portland, Maine, if anybody's interested in the area. And
not far from here.
The last one I had from them, it's Allagash Victor, which I believe is one of their triple style ales, and it was off the hook. Allagash is a good brewery.
I don't think I've had anything really bad from Allagash, except for I wasn't too impressed with their triple, but it wasn't bad either.
Like I said, I've only had one beer from them. I wasn't impressed by it, but I'll have to look for some more if I ever get my passport or my Nexus redone.
Which is not that far away. I mean, you're talking about, what is it, the Portland area up in like the northeastern United States. That's not too far from Canada. You guys should be able to find something.
You know, Canada is totally hard.
I know. I know what you're talking about. It's close. It's not that far, is what I'm saying. You're closer to it than I am.
Okay, so number 17. 17 is Perennial Ales from Artisan Ales, from St. Louis.
No idea.
Nope.
Okay, that's no from me as well. Oh, 16. I've had one beer from. One beer from, and I've loved it. and it was one of their sours. Number 16 is the Russian River Brewing Company.
Heard of them, yeah.
I've had Russian River Damnation, and I've had Pliny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've had Consecration, I believe it was.
I think I had 4 sours, and then the Pliny, and well, all of them great.
Pliny remains one of the best ones I've ever had, and I've had Supplication as well. It was really good.
I liked them, but they didn't blow me away.
Okay, number 15, Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company. Didn't even know they existed.
Nope.
Didn't know Arizona existed.
Terrible thing to say.
Number 14, Sankey Adarius Rustic Ales.
Nope.
Now you're just making stuff up just to
No,
fuck
no.
Bullshit.
With the skill to tackle simple and approachable beers in an elegant way and master wild brews with elegance, Santa Adagira, whatever the fuck, Rustic Ales, is one of those breweries people are starting to hear more and more about. Tucked away in Capitolia, California, just south of Santa Cruz, the team offers a wide-ranging top list with something for the adventurous craft beer fan to the guy who normally puts back Blue Moon.
All those people talking about it are in Craptotola, California. They
Pretty
haven't
much.
told anyone else about it.
Pretty
Okay,
much.
number 13, I actually love number 13. Number 13 is Firestone Walker.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
What? Who decide? What the fuck? Firestone Walker's awesome.
Yeah.
Firestone Walker's great, but for me, their lower end stuff is not good. Like their higher end stuff is amazing. Like I reviewed their PNC and their Parabola the other day, and I've done the Sukaba. I've done a couple years of Sukaba, but like their lower end stuff, like their DBA, their Double Jack, even their Wookiee Jack for me is just mediocre. It's not bad. It just doesn't blow me away like their barrel. Basically, what I'm saying is their barrel aging program is off the hook.
Well,
they make some amazing barrel aged beers.
Yeah, and the list is not about, blowing away. Well, one brewery can have one beer which blows you away, and I think the list tries to, even out the field by saying,
you need to have a high ranking, like
high median or high,
beers, and you need to be high ranking of those 15 beers.
Yeah, and for that matter, I would be surprised for that list to not have Firestone Walker in it, because Firestone Walker is hands down one of the most consistent breweries I've had. No matter what style we're talking about.
And in full honesty, Jacob, I completely agree with you. You got to keep it albino for Canada.
And that's the thing, Chad. Like, what number do they come in on? What number?
13 was it?
Isn't Greenland green?
Was it 13? If they stripped some of their lower end beers out of that, they would probably be top 5. That's what I'm saying. Is that when you take the whole thing into an account, I feel like if you were to strip away some of their lower end beers, they'd probably be like a top 5 brewery.
Number 12 is from New Mexico. It's La Cumbra Brewing Company.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but that's because Peter's been, overseas in New Mexico. And I actually think I've had 1 or 2 of those. But,
you know what the saddest thing is? Of all the Americans and Canadians on this panel, the guy that's from Denmark has had
more of more of all of them.
Do you know what that means? You're not doing your job right.
Hey, he is the Lord of Malts.
Okay, I've actually had a bunch of beers from thanks to Joe. Number 11 is Crooked Stave. Crooked Stave actually does make some nice beers, but I think they're overpriced and overhyped.
I just got some of their stuff here.
I don't like anything they do.
I love Crooked Stave.
I don't like Crooked Stave, and I hate New Belgium. Those are like the two big ones.
Well, number 10, I've heard of number 10. I've never had anything from them. Number 10 is Jester King.
Heard of them, yeah.
Heard of them, never had anything.
I think since they decided to change it up to, farmhouse ale, yeast, farm yeast, what's it called? All their beers have had a lighter mouthfeel than they're supposed to have, so...
Okay,
what's it
number
called?
nine. Number nine's
Sorry.
from Boston. Yeah, it has to be good. It's from Boston. Number 9 is Trillium Brewing Company. Never heard of them.
No, nothing.
Wait, you know the names. Heard of
Ooh, I think I've actually had one beer from number 8. Number 8 is Surly.
I've heard of Surly.
Yeah. Surly Bender.
Yeah.
Great beer.
Yeah, I believe Bender's the one I had, and I believe that came to me thanks to Joe.
I think I tasted one of the beers. One of my boss, when I worked at a beer store in Oldmore, actually had an American guy coming in, and he had a Surly something. I think it was Bender. Then
It's a
just
brown
poured it.
ale.
Next.
Number 7 is another one from California. Another one I haven't heard of, Southern Maker Brewing Company.
Never heard of them. Fuck them. They're dead. They're dead to me.
Southern Acre? No, never heard of that.
No, I've heard of number 6. Number 6 is one that's going to make Matt here very happy.
Yeah, what is a Weyerbacher?
New England.
New England?
New England Brewing Company.
I didn't say New England. I don't know.
You
I've
did-
never
you
heard of
did.
it.
You said New Belgium. Leave me alone.
Oh, stop it.
Fail.
I was hoping nobody would catch that, okay, after I said it.
Nah.
It
Yeah,
failed.
well, I think wasn't it New England which had a really nice imperial stout?
Possibly. I've had Gandhi bought from them.
We don't drink all those American beers like Yakov does. We don't know much about it.
Drank everything. Holy shit.
Oh, they had the.
Gandhi bought was really good, and they had that Stormtrooper one. What
Oh
was
yeah, Stout Trooper.
Yeah!
Sorry, I was watching the hockey game.
it? Number 5.
Sorry,
Number
Joe.
5 is Toppling Goliath Brewing Company.
Who?
Toppling Goliath.
Never heard of them. Heard of David?
You made that shit up.
Heard of David and Goliath?
Oh, IA Indianapolis.
No.
No.
Nothing good. Nothing good
IA.
comes from Indianapolis.
What is
IA?
Everybody knows
IA?
that.
Is IA Indiana or is it?
Yeah, that's
Iowa. Iowa.
Toppling
Iowa
Goliath
what?
in Iowa. Oh, number 4, Cycle Brewing. That sounds pretty hipster.
Fuck.
That does.
It's in Florida.
Francisco?
They make some good beer.
Oh, I actually have had a couple beers from number 3, the Maine Brewing Company. Maine Brewing Company. Sorry, Maine Beer Company.
I've heard of them. Nothing.
I've had their Tom and their I think Lunch. Tom was okay. Lunch was horrible.
Lunch with Tom.
Oh, number 2. Number 2 is from Maine again, and we're looking at the House Brewing Company.
No.
Where's the guy who made this list from?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Denmark.
Maine.
Hey, wait.
He's from Maine. Yeah, he's from Maine.
Can anyone guess what number 1 is?
Carlsberg.
Babita.
Schlitz.
I actually almost expected this until I got up to number 1. Hill Farmstead.
Of course.
Yeah, shut it off. Turn it off. Whatever it is.
It's done. It's over. The most inaccessible hipster brewery ever, Hill Farmstead. Yeah, let's go for that shit. Yeah,
well.
you have to go into the deep woods and brave fucking cannibals and shit to get to it.
You know, well, you're pretty close. You need to go to Denmark.
Obviously, got to go to Denmark to try most of these beers.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, Hill Farmstead, America's number 1 brewery according to the top 99%.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to Beer Advocate.
You know what I was actually kind of surprised about? That Stone wasn't on there. There's a bunch of really hyped breweries. Dogfish Head.
Dogfish. You would think.
Not that I'm saying those are great breweries, but with the hype that surrounds some of these breweries, I'm surprised they weren't on there.
Honestly, from what you read off, the guy obviously lives in New England, and because at the last in the top 10, it's like bang 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 Northeast stuff, and then it sounds like he's an IPA saison head.
Wait a minute. You don't think Dogfish Head is really good beer?
No, what I'm saying is the guy who actually made the list, even though he said it's like percentage-wise, it was based percentage-wise just off of the internet. Was he actually choosing what he wanted, or was it just percentage off the internet?
No, I agree with you.
Percentages, but whether or not it's actually 100% true, I don't know. I mean, I didn't go
I'm
through the
just saying, Chad made a remark.
But if it's not, then what it speaks of is who votes on the internet for beer. As far as who has money and who goes on Beer Advocate or wherever they go, and who votes for what, it's reflecting that.
To answer the question you're trying to ask there, Jay, I do think a lot of Dogfish Head beers are good. I'm just saying I'm not saying whether or not I think they deserve to be on the top 25. I'm saying I'm surprised they're not on there.
Yeah, because I've had all the Dogfish Head beers I thought were just fabulous,
I don't get why Stone's not on that list. I mean, Stone is definitely overhyped in some regards, but holy fuck, most of their beers are fucking...
Yeah, Stone makes some solid beers. Dogfish Head makes some solid beers. Firestone Walker I expected to be on there. Hill Farmstead I did expect to be in the top because they are probably the most hyped brewery in North America. I'm actually surprised that Heady Topper Alchemist was on there. But then again, they don't make 15 beers, which is part of the...
But where's the brewery? Just from California alone, the brewery. You know what I mean? Where's Lost Abbey? Where is I'm saying all these breweries I love, but you're talking about where's Lost Abbey? Where's Cigar City? You know what I mean? Where's...
Remember, part of it was they have to have at least 15 active beers.
The brewery has like 300 active beers. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's so many Dogfish Head is egregious. See, you can't not have that. Schlafly should be on there.
What's that one that Ewart loves so much?
Black Tuesday.
They make 4D. No, they make 4D. Cronin, they're from Michigan.
Check Ewart's Untapped.
Coonan from Michigan. Coonan from Michigan.
Yep.
That is a fantastic brewery.
Yeah, I've only had their 4D, and it was a fantastic beer.
But they're one of those breweries that, unless you live near Michigan, you can't really try most of their stuff.
But right here, if this whole list came off internet like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate and all that, and it was just percentages, that still should be there because if you look at their beers are all like 4 out of 5s.
Why the hell is Goose Island on there? Do they not have enough beers that fit that?
No, because they're owned by the people they don't like, so they're not allowed on there.
Because I mean, their whole Bourbon County series is fucking world class. Like, why would that not be on there? I mean, why are you ignoring that shit just because everyone owns it?
Because they're owned by the evil empire.
Yeah, I mean, if a big company is not fucking with that brewery, then why the fuck would you snub them? It's just fucking bullshit. It's stupid.
Just do an unbiased list.
Well, Lagunitas.
Lagunitas, another great brewery.
You know what I mean? Like it's like the fact that the brewery out of California isn't on there is just egregious. You know what I mean? The fact they make so many great beers and what they do, I don't even understand like how you can even include it in a top 20. Like I could see a top 5.
Like the other husband said, the fact that the Flying Bison wasn't on there, we're boycotting this list.
The brewery, they sent me 3 beers, and those beers were great. Like Sour in the Rye.
You're in charge. We don't see any of these beers out west now.
Huh?
All the beers I get are from like Mexico, San Diego, California, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, BC, man. It's all north and south travel. I don't know what the hell you guys talking about for beer. I'm on that list.
Right.
It goes north and south. It doesn't go east and west, man. We kind of toast as far as we go.
You're so far west. Well, I'm going to get off of this because I'm getting tired. I've been up so long.
Yeah, and I
See you, Ron.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you for inviting me. I really do appreciate it.
See you later.
All right, Ethan. Good night. Yakov, it was nice meeting you. And again,
right back at you.
Chad said goodbye, Ron.
Okay, good night, Chad and Ethan and Berserker and everybody.
See you later.
Good night.
Bon nuit.
Au revoir.
Bonjour.
Bon nuit, my friends.
I think I'm gonna head out as well. I need to be up in 6 hours. So.
Yeah, you're running pretty late there, Jakob. Thanks for joining, Jakob. Awesome. Awesome seeing you again.
What's your channel?
I don't have a channel.
Yeah, because you can't leave. I got to learn more about American beers.
Yeah, shit, I thought you had a channel, man.
But if you watch the Master of Hobbits, you'll see Jakob on there like lots of times. So
Master of Hops?
I tag along on Peter's channel.
Jakob, it was nice talking to you. I've watched a bunch of reviews, and I enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, Jakob, I never actually thought you'd join this stupid pigmentally challenged person's cast. Thanks for coming out.
Well, the thing is, I live in Greenland now, and the plan is I'm gonna stay here until September, so that's quite a long time. And the internet is quite expensive here in Greenland, so we only have 50 gigabytes of internet per month. I live alone in this house right now, but during the summertime we were like 20, 25 people sharing 50 gigabytes. It was like used up in 12 days. So up until now I hadn't had the opportunity. So.
That's insane. 50 gigabytes between 25 people? Get off. Shut it down now. Get off now.
Oh, well, I live alone now in this house, so I even pay for the internet.
You're definitely
Emails don't download attachments, you know.
you're definitely always invited, Jakob. So hopefully we'll
thank
see you
you
again. So
it was nice talking to you guys, and I'll see you in the near future.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, Jakob. This is what we're gonna drink now.
Oh, you bitch. I'm gonna go to the comments now because I don't want to look at that shit.
Here's what I'm drinking. Here you go. Another one you don't want to look at.
I hate Orval.
Fucking fuck! I'm going back to comments. Aaron says, "I bet Matt is all over that leg shit. Got to get in the cellar and start the clock ticking off those 8 years ASAP." Apparently. Paul's on here now. PA Brew News. It says, "Fuck you, Scott."
Sounds about right.
Yort says, "Gah, ponytails out." Apparently, so he's gone. And then we got some more from Paul here. He says, "Look at Jakob looking all lickable and shit. Will Matt ever shut up? What a ball bag." And then he says, "Lee represent." I don't even know what he's talking about. He says, "Matt equals stupid palate." So, Matt, you have a stupid palate, apparently. He says, "Matt doesn't like any hops, any fucking hops. And every brew must be at least 30 years old and needs a Prada-style label, or it's 1 out of 10.
Coming from the guy that needs to drink syrup, or it's a 0 out of 10.
Yeah. And Joe says, "Firestone Walker is fucking awesome. Lower end shit is also great, especially if you like hop forward beers, Union Jack, Double Jack, Wookie Jack, Easy Jack, Pivo Pills, and the list goes on." Jakob is spot on and has probably tried more of these beers than any of us combined, mostly because Peter is a celebrity. And P.A. Bruno says, "Fuck light mouthfeels." He also says, "Bender has hops in it, Matt won't like it." So certainly Bender. Yort says, "Fuck Crooked Stave, most overrated brewery in the U.S. They make beers from malted tweed and yeast. Is framed from the unshaven armpits of hugging hipster chicks." And Joe says, "It's okay, Nick. The Sabres blow. Can't believe it went to a shootout."
Sorry.
Well, at least they weren't playing the Sabres. That would suck if you had to do that.
Well, Montreal played the Sabres and won in a shootout. So
There's a few even newer comments. Not sure if you've seen them yet.
Maybe not.
Winter is Coming asks, any good winter seasonals coming out in the near future? So there's probably quite a few.
1 second. I'll be right back.
Any Belgian winter. There you go.
Quadruple is definitely a winner. Seasonal.
Yeah. It's weird because a lot of Belgian, what I like Belgian winter style ales come out in like January, February. But
Okay, two things that are starting to come out right now in the LCBO. Well, the LCBO is starting to get all of its winter packs. Two things that are actually worth picking up. Right here, the St. Bernardus pack.
Oh, yeah.
So you get the App 12, the Prior 8, the Triple, the Wharton Triple, the Wit Beer, and what the hell is that thing? I think that thing's a double.
you get a fancy glass?
No, you don't get a glass. The
Just get
App
beers.
12, Prior 8, Triple, Wharton Triple, Patter 6, and the Wit. Also, this thing right here, which is Classic Ales of England. So this has a Hobgoblin in it, which is the only beer I've already had. We just drank it tonight. But this has Marston's EPA, Braxpear's Bitter, Ringwood's 49er. Ringwood is a brewery that I'd heard a lot about, and there's a lot of breweries here that use the Ringwood yeast, but I'd never had something from them yet. The Cocker Hoop, which is an amazing name. And the Banks Bitter. So a lot of these are actually under 3% alcohol, and you always hear us Canadians talking about how the English know how to do, well, under 4%, I should say, how the English know how to do session ales, and these are like 3.6, 3.9, 3.5. These are session ales. These are proper session ales for the most part.
Sound like milds. They all sound like milds, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a great pack to pick up too. And then the Taster of Belgium, which has the Stella Artois, the Hoegaarden, and the Left Royale with the glasses. It's good to buy if you want the glasses because you get the Left Goblet, you get the
Stella
Stella Goblet, and you get the Hoegaarden. The Left Royale was actually really good.
I'm curious about that. How good was that?
The Left Royale wasn't amazing, but it was good. It was very easily drinkable.
Is that the glass?
Yeah.
I've been lusting over Left Triple for forever because you can't get it in the United
Left Triple
States.
is much better than Left Royale. Left Royale is supposed to be an exceptional Belgian pale ale. It's okay.
Oh, Tim.
So I'd definitely buy that pack for Left Royale. I definitely want to try that.
Well, that was the thing, right? I wasn't going to buy it because I already have like 7 Hoegaarden glasses. I already have like 20,000 Stella glasses. I already have 7 Left glasses. Like, I don't need more glasses. And then I saw that it was Left Royale, not brown, red, or blonde. I'm like, yeah, I'm buying it right now.
Yeah, and I don't know where Winter is coming. I don't know where he's from, but if you're in the Toronto area, there's a lot of good stuff you can get from the breweries. Like Bellwoods is bringing out a lot of stuff in the next little while. Great Lakes usually brings out some good winter beers. Amsterdam will probably bring out their Double Tempest pretty soon. So a lot of good stuff you can get if you're in the right area.
You're at Oktoberfest this year.
Yeah. Yeah. You can also get the beers of Belgium, which are usually from Van Steenberg. So you're looking at like Augustine and all that. They're not bad beers. You can get a 3-pack from Samuel Smith that has the 3 different Sam Smith beers and a glass. Ooh. You can get the 4-pack from 4-pack from Witchwood, which is Hobgoblin. It is Dr. Thirsty. Hobgoblin, Dr. Thirsty, Scarecrow, and the Imperial Red. The Imperial Red I haven't had, but it's still a nice little package.
Those are winter packs out too, right?
No, their Oktoberfest is still out.
The Dark Helmet, the Pumpkin.
Yeah, the Oktoberfest is still out there. The seasonal pack from Mill Street just hit shelves too.
That actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, it has the regular 2 new ones, and then it has the regular other offerings. But instead of having an organic lager, they now have the 100th Meridian Amber in, which has a little more taste in the.
That's
amber.
better. That's a better move.
Yeah. So you get the vanilla porter. You get the vanilla porter, the amber lager. I believe you're still getting the wit and something else. I don't remember. And then the 2 new beers.
You know, I don't know why.
That's a way better pack.
Mill Street, like none of their beers ever blow me away, but I don't know. I always get excited when a new Mill Street mixed pack comes out.
I really like their cobblestone stout, but that coffee porter sucked balls. But when I watched Nick's review, he had a good one with good head. Mine didn't even have fucking bubbles, man. Mine fucking sucked.
Coffee porter, like,
So I reviewed the like
beer of
2011
the year a
one.
year or two ago.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
Well, I
It could change.
bought 12 of it because I know it'll go fast.
Yeah, Nick did it like a couple years ago. And when I did Mill Street, it fucking sucked ass. The coffee porter sucked ass.
Sounds like it's gone downhill, man.
It's still really good.
Did you try another bottle or what? Or did you
I
just
did about 2, but they might have been out of the same pack. It was out of singles from the same store. I might try another one, but I was so disappointed I don't want to waste another several dollars or whatever.
Yeah, because the Mill Street Coffee Porter I had was pretty damn good, so I don't know.
balls.
Oh, mine?
When did you do yours?
I have 3 of them left.
I can't even remember, Nick. It was like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, something like that. So.
All around the same time.
Yeah, 'cause mine didn't have fucking bubbles.
To the 10 viewers we have left, other than Joe, do any have questions for us?
Yes, ask questions. I will read your questions. I will pose these questions to the esteemed panel here, who will give you knowledge from down above. It'll be like ambrosia from the gods.
We might have to call up Jakob if it's anything about American beers.
That's right.
You guys had some beers, eh?
I'm going to ask a question if that's all right.
Yes.
Okay, this kind of applies, I guess, more to Ontario people, but I suppose once I explain it, other people can give their opinions. So anyone from Ontario, have you heard of the, let me just get their name right, the Brew Box Company?
Yeah, they're a fairly new company that just started up recently.
Yeah, now basically what they are is every month they go to, I guess, different breweries, and supposedly they buy their hard-to-get beers. I don't know how hard to get the beers they get is. And then every month they send you a 6-pack of beer or more, depending what tier you decide to pay for, of these rare beers for you to try. So essentially you get a 6-pack of beers, I think 2 of each, so 3 different beers. And you can try beers that otherwise might be difficult for you to get. Now the catch is, it's $55 a month, so you're paying for a $55 6-pack. Just curious what everyone might think of that, because it's an interesting idea.
It's the same thing you have in a lot of places in the world. It's a to-your-door delivery system. You can get a $55 package or an $85 package. The $85 package is supposed to be the actual rare beers. The $55 package is just beers you might not be able to find because they're from different breweries around Ontario. Would I do it for $55? Fuck that shit. If I don't have the choice, if they're not selling me, here's 10 beers, make your own 6-pack. I'm not doing it for $55.
They also don't tell you what you're getting until you get it. It's supposed to be a surprise every time.
Oh,
Well,
fuck
that's just
that.
Fuck that. I'm paying that much money. I want to know what I'm getting.
Some months you might get a 6-pack. Some months you might get 3 beers. Some months you might get 8 beers. It all matters.
Exactly.
They might be cleaning the shelves too.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. I wouldn't
I
do that.
froze out there, but like I was saying, one of the things they say if you read their mission statement is some months you might get 3 beers, some months you might get 8 beers, some months you might get 10, some months you might get 6. It all matters what the beer cost them.
Yeah, some months you might get our dick up your ass, you know. Fuck that shit. Fuck that. That's bullshit. Fuck those people. That's stupid. I mean,
It's great for the progression of Ontario that Ontario is letting this happen, that they're letting a to-your-door mailing system happen, but until there's more of them and there's actually some competition, no, I don't want anything to do with it.
yeah, I don't want to buy it.
I can actually tell you guys what you'd get if you were subscribed during September. You'd get from the Smithwick's Brewing Company, you'd get their blonde ale. Doesn't sound too exciting.
No.
From Block 3 Brewing Company, you'd get their Cheap Gold, which is a Belgian strong golden ale.
I think it would be okay.
And then from the Junction Craft Brewery in Toronto, you'd get the extra special bitter.
No.
So one off, 1 and 2 regular beers from the breweries, and you can get them at any time as long as you go to those breweries.
Yeah, for $55 a month? Fuck off.
What it would cost you to buy those 6 beers is about $18.
I still wouldn't pay it. Fuck those people.
I guess
Fuck
it depends whether the gas to drive there would be worth it or not.
Don't
Yeah.
don't sugarcoat it, Lee. I hate that you sugarcoat shit all the time.
I'm so nice and fuck these
Lee-
fucking assholes.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful that this company is out there and that they actually got the laws changed so that they can do this, because that means that beer mails will soon not be illegal.
Yeah, so I was wondering how they got around that.
But
That's great, but fuck this company at the same time because
but
fuck
again, $18 for the beer, $55 to get them to collect it and send it to you.
not happening. Not happening.
Hmm.
I'm not that much of a beer geek where I need that shit. Fuck that.
Liquor store is not that far away.
Yeah,
And not just that,
exactly.
It's
Holy
$55 for a bitter, a blonde, and a Belgian gold.
Yeah, not fucking happening ever.
Boring.
Ever.
Man, if they handed me an air rifle and I got to shoot the
It's
delivery
like
guy in the fucking ass on the way out, maybe.
You're gonna get a Bellwood skeleton key, a Cameron's Deviator Doppelbock barrel age. You're gonna get if they got that sort of stuff. Okay, sure, $55. Here you go. But here's your golden, your blonde, and your ESB.
Here's our cream ale, guys. Buy your cream ale.
The only problem,
Get it? You can't get it unless you drive to Sleeping Giants. But here's a cream ale.
Yeah.
Next month, flat blue. You know?
And there's always gonna be that one thing in there, like they had that strong triple. You're like, well, maybe that, but then they just throw that one thing in there you might be okay with, and they're like,
Here's our corn lager, guys.
yeah.
Buy 2 bottles of our corn lager. Assholes.
the only problem with those
Shut up.
I think they're
To answer Berserker's question from earlier about the coffee porter Bleeze bottle, he got it from me. Same pack, so
Oh.
really, I got a
Well,
good
so
batch.
yours looked nice. When I poured mine, the head just disappeared. I saw your video and it was like clinging on. It was like a real beer.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened. Maybe I just got a bad batch. It's possible.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's 2 years later you had it, so maybe it's changed.
Maybe it was the same one that you guys had. just
It
2
was
years
the
later.
same one, the exact same batch. 2 years later, it tastes like shit.
By the time I got out here, it was
Maybe you
gosh.
peed in the bottles. Maybe you peed in the bottles. It might happen.
I love when Lee starts.
It have a slightly briny taste, you know.
Yeah, it was like salty.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Again, I met the guys that run the beer box company. They're actually really cool guys. I just until a year from now, when it's actually running and they actually have breweries working with them more, maybe. But right now, no.
Yeah, fuck those dicks.
There's some great cheap beer out
So
there.
it's like going to war. You have to send a bunch of people out there who don't really know to take a bunch of bullets, and then once the company gets up and running, then it might work for us. But send out a bunch of guys just to get, take a hit
Well,
for us.
right now they're making 30 this month, the September month that just happened. Right, if you had booked with them on September, they made $30 per subscription. When you add the shipping of the beers afterwards.
I was gonna say you gotta also take into account they gotta pay for their gas and stuff like that. So that's cutting.
They're not paying for gas. They're getting the beer shipped to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
They're a
not actually going to
middleman.
breweries to pick it up?
Yeah, they're going to have their own little warehouse, and they're going to get the stuff sent to them, and they're sending it out from there.
Drop shipping.
Oh, okay.
Across the board, I hope they all die.
The problem is if they ever do one for like Bellwoods, where they just give you 6 Bellwoods beer a month, it's going to cost like $200 a month to get that.
No, they'll give you Stay Classy and stuff. They'll give you just $6 beers.
Well, they'll still charge you like $95 a month for those.
Well, I don't
That
see it,
just
man.
won't happen unless you're in the $85 bracket.
Going to the liquor store is like the highlight of my fucking week. Why would you want to rob yourself of that? Sit on the couch and wait for shit when I could look at all those cool-ass beers and decide for myself?
But just think about how much extra beer you could buy going to the liquor store with that $55 and getting your 6 beers for $55.
Yeah, no shit, man. You get lots of beer like that.
I mean,
And it's a fun time.
I got 23 beers on my last beer run to the LCBO, and it cost me $80.
I think it's a combination of people who don't know and people who think they'll get something they can't get, and that's what it is. They're trying to appeal
But
to
that's
a
just
market.
it, right? That's what every single beer club mail to your door thing plays on, is it's things you can't get.
Yes, either you don't know or you can't get. which are the two things. And if they only appeal to you can't get, then I'd be fine with it because then
You can get it.
I'm okay with
Well, that's
that.
just it, right? Like you said, it's not that it's stuff you can't get; it's stuff you can't get easily. If you drive to Toronto, you can get it. If you drive to Neustadt, you can get it. But you can't drive there unless you take the time to
Like
get
if they're putting stuff in the set, like comes out Friday. If you don't get it Friday, it's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
See, my thing is a regional. It's not I can't get it. It's a regional thing. Like if something I want, I can get up and go and get. I'll go and get it. But if it's something that's like state or two away, then I have to rely on secondary measures. Usually it's friends or beer friends or whatever. But sometimes you need
You're not
a
allowed to rely
third
on
market.
Make it the nickname of with fries with that.
The what?
You might get a nickname. Do you want fries with that if you do that?
Yeah. Well, I'm crying tears of joy
There you
right
go.
now because
Lee looks way too happy.
Yeah, Lee's drunk out of his mind. Look at that happy.
What?
I don't think I've ever.
I'm not that happy. Not
Ethan.
that happy.
Ethan, did you make your list?
Yeah, I got my, 5 macros, right?
What were you talking about? Like, Chad, what was it? 5 macros and then 5 micro macros, was it?
Yeah, 5 macros and then 5 that were owned by macros.
Okay. Well, which one you want me to start with first? I can start with the macro one first.
Whatever you want to do, dude.
All right. Number 5, King Cobra.
Later, and Simon already.
Number 4 would probably be Tecate. 3 would probably be Moosehead. 2 is Paps, and then 1 it would be Miller. For just macro brews in general. And then I just have a top 5 list for my craft beer. I have 6 actually. Number 6 would be Blue Moon, and number 5 would be their Goose Island's Endless IPA. Would that count as
Yeah.
I know that they're. Okay.
That fits because they're owned by AB and Biv. So.
Okay. Coors Batch 19, I would have to say would be number 4 for me. And 3 would probably be their Shock Top Apple Wheat Crisp, or I couldn't remember what it was called, but I just remember that one wasn't half bad. And also Shock Top for number 2 would be their Chocolate Stout. And number 1 for me would probably be Goose Island's Matilda. So
That was pretty good.
yeah, I felt like it was good. I have a 2012 bottle in my basement right now, and I had 2 of them, and I drank one, and it was nice hoppy, good malt backbone to it. So
We got the Sophie and the Matilda here in New Brunswick, and I had both. Pretty darn awesome, actually.
yeah, it was a lot hoppier than I thought it was gonna be. So
I think I like the Sophie better, but I mean they were both really good.
yeah.
Paul says one giant hipster brewery's blowjob orgy going on right now, apparently. And New York says Brewbox. Frankly, that sounds made up.
It's true. I made it all up.
Actually, they've been around for about 3 years. It took them until this year to get okayed. September was the first month of mailing.
Just keep the laws change.
Yeah.
Fake.
Hey Matt.
Here's one you guys didn't read, and I think Matt needs to hear it. It made me giggle. It's probably in my spam folder because it's from Aaron, and he's just been posting a bunch of things, and some of them hit the spam folder before they hit the folder, and I gotta go and click the OK. Anyway, I bet Matt is all over that overnight lag shit. Gotta get it in the cellar ASAP and start the clock for those 8 years.
Yeah,
Actually, the thing is, I'm totally opposite of that. That's the funny part. I like never buy shit until like years and years later when it's sitting on the shelf. So, anyway,
I think Aaron and Matt are gonna fight.
that'd be fun.
We'll get the cantankerous cook as the referee.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
Nobody
What
will
are we?
accidentally
It's
hit him.
standing 8 count or just 3
No,
knockouts?
Turkish oil wrestling. Turkish oil wrestling.
Oh.
You know, this beer would taste the same in a shaker glass.
Would it, sir? What are you drinking right now?
But it wouldn't smell the same.
Yeah, you bullshit, you fucking asshole. Fuck off.
I gotta stop touching them. I only have 3 bottles left. And I need to keep them for the festival.
I'll just state for the record that the albino rhino is a cunt.
Oh.
You know what I love? I love that somehow we've taught Jay to troll.
Yeah, he's getting pretty good at it, isn't he? Yes, he's almost at the point now where every time I badmouth beer sampling with Dave, he's actually in agreement with it. So he's moving to the dark side.
Well, now that Dave's not here to like pounce on him every 2 seconds, he's had room to grow.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Dave, if you're watching, fuck you.
There it is.
You and Dave love each other so much, eh?
Oh yeah, I just love that ponytail.
You gotta invite Dave over to the Albino Rhino Beer Fest next year.
Oh, I'd love to see him there.
Get him at least sleeping in the same room.
Albino Rhino brawl.
Get yourself a passport. Come up, May 2nd.
Yeah, we could cuddle, baby.
Who will be the big spoon, though?
No, he would just bend over the whole time. I'd use him as a fucking table and just serve beer off him. He's so stiff now, probably, that he'd make a good table.
You're such a loving man.
I don't know, Lee. I don't think you're that badass, buddy.
I hate him.
I can tell.
Oh, I saw your old E video. I'm gonna say the end of that scared the living shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
What happened at the end that scared the shit out of you? What?
No, I said the end of your video. When you had for your old E, I guess Chuck video. Your old English 40 ounce.
Yeah. What at the end scared the shit out of you? What?
Dave.
The computer graphic image.
The
the werewolf, man.
The Crypt Keeper, I'm guessing, is what you were going for. That shit just made me laugh so fucking hard.
I try to keep up on these comments and I just can't now.
It's hard, eh?
But I'm gonna stay out of it.
I posted the NWA 8-ball video right after that. It's all about Old English, but yours is way more rough, man.
I might do a
Easy.
video with the extra dry that Lee brought me from Quebec.
Oh yeah. You haven't opened that yet? You haven't done anything?
No, I'm not opening that anytime soon.
Oh, come on now.
That's sitting in the cellar.
Is it still
You and Scott should do that tonight.
No, Scott has to not do that.
No, he doesn't have to do shit. He should drink that. He should share the pain with you.
The king of beer tube is trying to speak to you. I'd ignore him.
Share the pain. Share the pain.
You gotta hail the other
Here with that same dazed look on my face I get at work all day.
Oh, fuck.
I finally got my hands on that ghost from Hoppin' Frog. Finally. So that was the one I was talking about last week about the King James or LeBron James beer that had the sourness and sea saltiness and.
Oh, now that he's back in Ohio, you'll say his name again?
Hey, I still have my jersey. I didn't burn it. So.
The girl that I know from Alliance, her best friend from Akron was his day school teacher.
Yeah.
Hey, do we ever get the other husband's top macro beers?
No.
No.
Yeah,
I didn't
if
have
he's on the
time to
show, he should
pop
tell
it
us.
on.
sitting in
We
there.
haven't really heard the other
0.8,
husbands'
3.4,
craft beers
4.8,
either.
5.2.
Macro go-tos? Lately, Coors Banquet, Coors Light.
Labatt and Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Sleeman's Bourbon Barrel Ale.
Yeah.
Well, oak aged ale.
I had their I had Labatt's Apple Harvest Ale.
What do you
Yeah, I
consider
did
Rolling
it.
Rock, macro or micro?
Macro. It's brewed by Labatt.
Okay. Yeah, Rolling Rock, but I gotta buy it in the States because I like it there better.
Okay, then it's brewed by Anheuser-Busch.
Okay. Rolling Rock. Yingling, that's kind of borderline now to me, though. Because I think if you can get it everywhere, it shouldn't be considered a micro anymore.
Yeah, they're number 4 in the United States right now.
Well, that's it. Like when you talk about the macro, micro, you're going to talk about next week. To me, if you can buy it everywhere you've ever heard of, to me, it's not a micro anymore.
Was it Yangling actually recently they changed the rules so they could be considered?
Well, this was the thing, right? Originally, it was just done by if you were under this size and you didn't use adjuncts, you were a craft brewery. And then they took adjuncts out because adjuncts are oatmeal and everything else. I mean, anything that would add a residual sugar to the brew was an adjunct. And you know what? The funny thing is, the man that fought with adjuncts the most uses adjuncts in a lot of his beers, and that's Mr. Stone himself. So they took adjuncts out of the definition in the U.S., which allowed Yingling and a few other breweries to slip into the craft brewery market.
To be fair, though, fucking Cook from Stone, he's in line with the Brewdog people, where they want the craft brew thing to include, so many hectoliters or whatever. But when it comes to adjuncts, they're specifically talking about adjuncts that are to cheapen the beer and make it, easier to make and shit. They're not talking about, like, adding wheat to a beer or cranberries to a beer or some shit like that. They're talking about fucking the shit Budweiser does, like add rice to it or, whatever.
Well, you can't use rice because rice actually has a use in beer. Rice makes a lighter mouthfeel.
Well, that's their argument, though. It's like to make beers lighter and shittier. And
I can understand if you're going against things just to make it cheaper, such as corn syrup, corn, and all that. But rice actually does have a real reason to be used.
Yeah, you can't make a white ale without rice, right?
Rice is the main ingredient in all Japanese, Chinese, all Asian beers.
But just because it has a purpose doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
you don't have to like it. I don't like the taste of rice.
Yeah, there's a market for it.
But that's convenient for Asian beers. I mean, it's like they can't fucking really grow barley over there. They have to fucking import it for the most part. So it's like...
There's the difference. I mean, I think that it should be, like, if you use adjuncts for the sake of making the beer cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know if adjuncts really make the beer shitty, though. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. Like some... Like Budweiser doesn't have corn. But it's so shitty and it gives me a headache. I think it would have corn, but like, it doesn't have corn, but it's still shit.
What's got in it? Rice?
Rice, just, yeah, you know what I mean? But it could be their yeast, it could be a lot of their mash temperature, it could be a lot of shit. I don't know what makes beer. Adjuncts don't necessarily make the beer shit.
No, but I mean, adjuncts is a very vague category. I mean, like most people that think adjunct log rice and corn, right? But I mean, adjunct basically means anything extra that you add to the fucking thing. But I mean, when you get to the big macro companies, whenever they use adjuncts, they're usually using rice and corn.
Adjunct isn't just anything you add to the beer. Adjunct is anything fermentable added to the beer.
Yeah, but
so
I mean...
anything other than malt used to make the ABV backbone of the beer.
But I mean... Fucking Budweiser is using rice because it's cheaper and it's more efficient for them. I mean, and it
gotta get it from China.
A light beer. They want, like, if you do a blind taste test and you have Bud in there with Coors and everything else, they all taste pretty much the same. What you're looking for, if you're trained to look for it, is the mouthfeel. Bud is a lot lighter mouthfeel, and that's what the masses enjoy more for some reason. Where if they wanted to go full on, they're going for just cheapness, they would be using corn or corn syrup.
Yeah.
But Bud gives me a headache, and I'm not blaming the rice.
I think I'm gonna do another blind taste test of Coors and Miller.
Yeah, put Coors, Miller, and Bud, and I don't know, Pabst. Put all those things side by side, and the only one you'll probably get full on is the Bud. Look for the lightest mouthfeel.
No, because like when I tried it, that's what I kept taking like mental notes, and one of the things I noticed was Coors was really sweet. Miller just had that funk in it that I never liked about Miller, and then when I was younger, and then number 3 was Bud Light, which didn't really taste like anything. So I feel like if I did it again, I think I could get it at least 2 out of 3.
I mean, we did the Laker beer challenge. We did the Laker ladder, and it was we had 5 Laker beers and we had 1 Upper Canada beer just for a double blind. And we put those 6 beers in, and we asked if there was 4 of us, and we tried to put them all in order. I was the only guy that got them all because I knew exactly what little nuances I was looking for in each beer.
Yeah, I had Laker Lager. That wasn't bad, but it wasn't.
You're not invited to Canada anymore.
What are the words I want to use? Hold on. The words I want to use is not offensive, not too offensive.
If I remember correctly, Laker knocked us all.
Yeah. Laker actually didn't do bad in the ladder match.
It did way better than it should have.
I actually have asked about 6 different brewers if they do the Laker challenge with me, which is what I just announced. Like, we have the 5 Laker beers, and you have to decide which one is the Pilsner, which one is the regular Laker, which one's the Laker Strong, which one's the Laker Light. And I've had 3 brewers say they do it without any thought. 2 of them say they don't really want to, but they do it, and one of them say, why the fuck would I do that? So you can see snobbery even in brewers.
Yeah.
Why would you do it? Just for fun. Just fucking do it and shut the fuck up.
Isn't tonight all about no snobbery?
Yeah, tonight's whole thing was about no snobbery. Let's give beer that isn't craft beer its due. There are some good ones out there. And have fun.
Yep. I mean, that's that whole thing. I mean, it's like, why would you be so opposed to just doing that shit? I mean, it's like, just have fun. Fuck off and drink some beers and have fun.
You know what's funny is... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say quickly, one thing I think that I've learned from tonight is that if you're, for some reason, only into macro beers and that's all you will drink, you don't want to touch craft beer, you've actually got quite a few good choices compared to, say, even 2-3 years ago. There's quite a few...
Hey, Greg, stop right there for a second. Start again from you don't want to touch anything but macro beer.
In case you don't want to touch anything from macro beer, you've got quite a few good choices that you can drink now as opposed to, say, a few years ago where basically your choices were lager, and more lager. Now you've actually got some flavored beers. It may not be the best in their category, but I would say the selection
I fully agree with you. If you
better.
only want to touch macro beer or macro brewed companies,
some you can buy now.
There are so many good choices out there that it's not funny.
Yeah, in Canada alone, if you want to buy fucking Hop City, you're good to go because all the stuff they do is pretty much fucking craft quality.
I'll be honest with Hop.
Would you say that maybe today's movement away from like macro beers hasn't really much to do with macro beers, more that people just don't want to drink lagers anymore?
Yeah, that's true.
It seems to be going that way. We're all talking about all these great macro beers, but hardly any of them are lagers.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Hop City was owned by Moosehead until fairly recently. I always thought they were just a craft brewery.
Yeah, and if you went into fucking Hop City not knowing Moosehead owned it and you start drinking their stuff, you'd think they're like a really great Canadian craft brewery. I mean, that would be your first impression, I imagine. So it's like, what's the complaint?
Really not bad.
Yeah.
I even see, like, English beers, kind of falling behind what we're doing over here. Like, I did the Adams Ghost Ship, and I thought it gave me a headache.
There's something wrong with that shit. Like, I didn't like it. You know? So even if it's like from England now, I'm saying, hey man, this shit, there's something funky with it. I don't like that shit.
Well, in Europe and England, there's this traditional kind of thing going on where there is a resistance to craft breweries in that region.
Mark actually started speaking with what I say.
Yeah. There's lots of shitty German beer.
Oh, really does.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
Chad.
over in Europe, they have not embraced like craft brewing like North America has. I mean, it's a different kind of system, really, because there's still a lot of like really traditionally family-owned breweries, and I get the feeling that they sort of think of this as almost like an attack or an affront to their tradition, almost. So.
Have you ever noticed
that a lot with
over here are really good? A lot of the European beers that come over here are usually pretty good, though. Just wondering if it's kind of yeah.
I'd way rather have Lowenbrau than like a Coors, right?
Definitely, yes. Although Lowenbrau is what AB InBev at this point.
Yeah,
I fucking
I'd
love that
rather
beer.
have a Heineken or a Grolsch. Definitely a Grolsch over
My brother bought a fucking one of the winner's gift pack things. Fucking giant bottle of Grolsch. He bought that today.
Oh, dude, I
With the
got
fucking
those.
twin top on it.
They have that, and they have a Stella Artois too.
Yeah.
Bottles.
I bought
Like,
three
I
of
thought
those.
it was I thought it was like a Christmas like version of Stella, like a different form, like whatever recipe. And I saw it was just regular Stella, and I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. So.
I think that's why an awful lot of European beer sort of gets a sort of a good reputation. Is not to say European beer is bad, but I think a lot of beer is overhyped just because of the fact that if you compare it to the average American lager, it's a hell of a lot better. It may not be a great beer, but it's much better than one of the big three brands.
I mean, Europeans are big on tradition, and that's the thing. They're big on tradition. And you see that all the time. I mean, Weihenstephaner. Weihenstephaner has been the same thing since, what, the 1500s? It's a good beer. It really is. It's a good beer. It's a solid beer. But is it the greatest wheat beer in the world like a lot of Europeans make it out to be? No, because brewing has changed a lot in 600 years.
I would argue there's some local Ontario beers that are better than it.
And I would too. And I got so much shit when I said that it wasn't my favorite wheat beer ever. I got so much shit that wasn't funny. Is it a good beer? Yeah. Is it, oh my god, it's amazing? Not for me.
I was gonna say I did the what was it, the Bad Attitude Pilsner with the little hippie dude on the front.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I just did their porter, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had them, and I looked up a video review, and it was one of Chad's reviews, and he said it was absolutely horrible. And I really thought it was gonna taste like shit, but when I drank it, it wasn't bad. It was actually pretty damn good.
When you say Chad, do you mean me or the other?
Yeah. I mean you.
I just did their porter at 8%.
I had
It was fucking awesome.
I have to tell you right now, you have to redo that review. Is it what?
No, I'm not redoing the review. You know what? I'm perfectly fine with us having different palates. We don't have to like the same thing. I'm perfectly okay with that. We don't all have to like the same thing. If we did, we'd all be drinking Bud, Miller's, or Coors.
Wait, we don't.
That was actually the next one I was gonna say.
We don't all like the same thing at the same time. Okay,
Right.
Can we shut the internet off now?
The internet's over.
Yeah, I came in this chat room thinking we all like the same thing, but
Well, we do like the same thing in general. We all like beer.
right.
Oh, we all like good beer.
Well, I still.
Oh.
Well, some of us like bad beer too.
Numbskull over here still likes Coors Light.
Hey, I still don't mind Buzz Millennium, and I know I get a lot of shit for that.
You should get a lot of shit for that. You should be fucking Frankenstein monster fucking peasants with pitchforks and flames.
So remember, everybody, May 2nd, the whole week, and May 3rd is my birthday, so you can't leave on the Sunday.
I know. I need off.
Yeah, I'll try and make it up this year. It's a matter of whether I can get a drive up there or not. So I know I'm not going to leave sober.
No, there's no chance of that, sir. If you tried to skip on drinks, you will be murdered.
No, and I wouldn't dare skimp on
We
drinks.
do have this house. We have a bed over here. We have a futon here. We have a futon here. We have a couch upstairs.
There's
We have
always places to crash.
Well, the thing is, though, I like to sleep naked. Is that going to be a problem?
Yes.
We'll make you sleep with Nick.
Oh, fuck.
Again, my
So
old
for what
question,
Paul
do I
says
get
you
to be
won't
the big
sleep if
spoon
you're
or
with
the
Nick.
small spoon?
Nick, your snoring could wake the dead, and I wish I had recorded it. Because you laid down.
Like.
You laid down and you were asleep within minutes. And all Paul said was, "Oh God," as you're snoring. And then about 10 minutes later, I was in the room. I was in the room editing video. I was trying to post a video that night of something we did, and I just started laughing hysterically, and he told me to shut the fuck up.
Oh, shit.
I don't know, I've been told I can shake windows.
Go sleep in the basement.
Fuck.
Glass tape on the windows.
Good times, gentlemen.
So, Chad, I want to put you on the spot for a second, or anyone else who's tried both these beers, but I think Chad may be the only one. Donkey Venom or Whiny Bastard? If you had to pick one regardless of price, which beer do you prefer?
Ooh, regardless of price. Donkey Venom, which I had just recently, or Whiny Bastard. I don't know if you've had Whiny Bastard.
I've had the Whiny Bastard.
Okay. Of the two of them, which one would I rather have? Donkey Venom, because I could drink more of them. The ABV is low enough that I could drink a couple of them in a night instead of just one bottle of Whiny Bastard. And then
Aren't they the same ABV? Aren't they both 9.5?
1 second, let me go grab the Whiny Bastard.
I have the Whiny Bastard bottle right here, and it says 9.5. I'm just not sure about the Donkey Venom.
I thought the Whiny Bastard was over 10.
I got a question, kind of like for everybody here. What's the most expensive bottle of beer you've ever bought?
Ever bought or ever drank?
$20 for a bottle of Westy 12.
How much?
It was $20 for one.
I was about to say that. Oh, okay. I just bought $20 for a bomber from Hoppin' Frog.
I was going to
Okay, Whiny
say,
Bastard, yeah, 9.5. 9.5, you are right. I thought it was over 10.
Yeah.
I split a bottle of 1978 Thomas Hardy Ale for was it $90?
Whoa.
wow.
Wow.
See, I got a limit. I got a limit for beer. I mean,
It was
Basically at the top end of my limit. I'll
It
usually
was-
buy one bottle at this price, but this was so good I ended up buying 3.
Yeah, I just tried the one bottle I bought of it a week ago, and I'm gonna next time I'm buying Nickelbrook, I'm gonna pick up a few more because that is a really fantastic beer.
Thomas Hardy, I'd probably do it. I probably would.
It was one of those things where it was like,
You know what? Here's the decision then. The decision has just been made. Lee is going to send me his YouTube monies, and we're going to get the 6-liter bottle of Le Fin de Monde.
I'm not sending you any fucking money, sir.
If I get money, I'll send that to you, man. That's fucking awesome.
You say the
I don't like to see us crack open that bottle of
What?
in the mod and see if we can finish it in a weekend.
What kind of YouTube monies do you think I get?
We should find a way to get like sponsorship and buy like 6 bottles of it and do a chugging contest.
Oh,
on
no.
What the fuck kind of YouTube monies do you think I get, sir?
Hey,
I
you know how
might
many
be king
views
of
you
beer.
get with that?
I don't
In
get
1 year, you can get enough money to buy 1 bottle.
of what?
You might not have the bacon money, but you have the beer money.
Beer money for what? What are we buying? What?
A 6-liter bottle of Le Fin de Monde.
The Le Fin de Monde? I'll tell you what, motherfucker. When I come up next year for the fucking beer fest, if you want to buy the fucking 6-liter bottle of Fin de Monde, I will buy it.
It's going to be sold out by then.
Well, if it's not there, then it's out of the question. But if it's still there, I will buy it.
Does it show up at your local LCBO?
$105 for a 6-liter bottle, and I did the math. If you buy 6 liters of the Findemund from the beer store, it's $44.
But
Just
you know,
for-
Chad will chug that bottle.
$30
Just for entertainment's sakes, and just to be compadre, I
Just
would
to give
buy
Chad
that.
alcohol poisoning.
Yes, exactly. I would do that just for the fun of it. But otherwise,
we always do the. Well, I've done the Century Club twice. Let's do the Findemund Club.
Oh no.
oh Jesus Christ, we'd be dead after like 5 drinks or something.
I'll tell you,
Never do the Century Club with real beer.
Yeah, but at the same time,
Just,
yeah, let's do it.
Century Club with Imperial Stouts is not a good idea.
No.
I did make it
yeah.
through, and I lasted. I reviewed a beer after making it through, and then I filled a bucket.
Not a good idea if you're
we've
a.
all seen the video of you puking. But to answer the question, the most expensive bottle of beer I ever bought was
The ginger
Sam
snatch
Adams Utopia,
was
which
driven here
was
by her boyfriend.
$115
It was
at the
me, him, and
LCBO. And
And
Wow.
every one of us puked.
they ended up
But I made it
breaking
through.
so I ended up getting a refund for it. So I didn't actually spend the money, but I was willing to, and then they broke it.
Right.
Wait. Did you just say you got Sam Adams Utopias for free? Is that what you just said?
No. I spent $115 to get it at the LCBO. And then when they sent it to me, because basically you have to call in to order it, and they charge your credit card, and then they send it to a store of your choice. So when they sent it to a store of my choice, it ended up breaking, and there was nothing left but the cap of the bottle. So they ended up giving me a refund, and then they actually sent me a letter and sent me a gift certificate apologizing. for all
Oh
that stuff.
man.
But you didn't buy it.
I didn't buy it. I got a refund for it, though. So technically, I didn't buy it. I got my money back. Technically,
Nice.
You
They
didn't
sent
get
me-
Utopia
they sent me
soap cardboard. You just got refund.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
The most expensive bottle of beer I bought that I actually ended up drinking was Motley Crue from Bellwoods 2013, I believe, and that was $20 for a 750 milliliter.
Yeah, see, Utopias is probably the most expensive one. I bought it, but it was like split between like a bunch of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I split the not Sam Adams, the fucking Thomas Hardy, me and one other person. So, but like a group of us have bought Sam Adams before. So
Yeah. For me, honestly, it's like really lame. Fucking Chimay Blue is probably the most expensive beer I've ever bought. And the price, I'm just saying that because the price has gone up recently to where it's over
No,
$10.
We just started getting Chimay down here, and yeah, I haven't even got to try it yet. It's in the lineup though.
I think the
I
most
noticed the
expensive
price
thing.
has gone up lately on everything. A lot of beers.
Yeah. I mean, I went in there and Chimay Blue is like it's no longer under $10. I'm like, holy fuck. I still
I
bought
think
it.
the most expensive beer that you can run to right now is Goose Island's Matilda and Ophir. $13. But they're worth it.
Yeah.
Everything, unfortunately, goes up in price.
I kind of feel bad not sharing them sometimes, but
Well, a few months ago, I saw a $20 6-pack, and it blew me away. And now they're all kind of getting. There's a lot that are getting up around $17 easy. 17, 20.
yeah.
A lot of 6-packs. Or above even. It's becoming the norm.
$17 6-packs just don't get bought for me.
I see that shit all the time now. I see like fucking Mill Street or somebody. They come out with like the only $17 6-pack I've bought in the last little while is Bone Shaker, and that's it. But otherwise,
Bone Shaker is $17 over there. It's about
yeah, it's $17. It is $17 in Nova
Well,
Scotia.
it's about
think,
I think $13 here, give or take.
I think like 6-packs of like Muskoka Detour and Mad Bum are like $17 here. But
Holy
Wow.
You guys are in Flying Monkeys territory, and I just saw one bottle in a box for $18.
We don't even get Flying Monkeys here.
really don't get
The box beers
Oh,
for
we-
Flying Monkeys are around $11 or $12 a bottle. Sometimes 13, I guess. depending on
Wow.
the one.
We get Flying Monkeys here, but only on the growler fill at certain stores.
Yeah, that's
Well,
Ontario
like-
Brewery, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, And they wanted $17 for one bottle, and I didn't even look like a bomber in that box.
No, it's cheaper down here.
Crazy shit.
Well, it's $10 for a 6-pack here for their Smash Bomb and their what is it, Innovision or whatever
Well, they
that
got
is.
cheap shit. I'm just wondering if the liquor store guys are ripping me off. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck, I ain't buying that shit. No way. Not for one beer.
A lot of it's taxes, I think.
Well, Flying Monkeys makes anywhere. Like Flying Monkeys makes regular beer, which is here about the standards $13 a 6-pack, and then they make their specialty beers, which come in 750 milliliter bottles, and they're anywhere between $10 to $13 a bottle.
Yeah, see, I've never seen those around here.
It cost me an extra $4. Okay, I was just wondering because I can't remember the name of it, but I just was blown away. I wanted to try it, but I was like, not for 17, so I got something different.
Was it like one of the big bottles that they had, like Chocolate Manifesto, the BNL?
Yeah, it might have been the Manifesto. Was it Purple Rock?
Yeah, I think that was a popular one which they sent around a bit, and that one was, I haven't tried that one, but that was a pretty pricey one. Even in Ontario, I think it was 12 or 13.
Yeah, okay, I just wonder what the difference was. Apparently $4.
Yeah, I guess that's what you got to pay for them to ship it to you and all that.
How bad do they give you shit crossing the border into Canada with beer? I haven't traveled in a while.
People do that all the time.
But let's say going from Buffalo, New York to Toronto. Like, how bad do they check that bad, or?
It depends on how long you've been there, or you're going. Like I've got family in Michigan, so I typically will go up for a weekend to Michigan, and I'll bring back at least my limit of alcohol, sometimes perhaps a little bit more. And generally, as long as they see you've been there for like 2 days, they don't give a shit. They don't really ask you too many questions. They don't check your car. But if you're there for like a day, then yeah, they're probably going to be a little more suspicious of you.
Well, I'm just more curious about, like, let's say, like, you were to go up there for one day. Like, let's say I went up there for, like, a beer festival or something like that, like Chad's saying, and, like, would they give a shit about you bringing beer into Canada more than...
No.
What?
Are you
with cops?
If you're an American bringing beer into Canada,
Yeah, I was going to say, are you in the U.S. right now?
Yeah.
You know what? They wouldn't care so much, because as long as you're not over the limit, you can bring in. You're allowed to bring in 24 bottles of beer, which is supposed to be standard 5% beer. So,
Greg, you're not allowed to bring anything.
You can't bring a drop in.
You can't bring a drop in. It's just if it's under a 2.4, you're usually okay, because then they have to go through the math on what it is.
I thought Americans can bring in beer, though.
Americans can bring in whatever they want.
We can't.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm asking about.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
As
an American.
if you came up for the festival, Matt, and you wanted to bring stuff for us to share, you could bring a 2.4 up for a person.
That's basically my question, because we were talking about like beers that we.
Sorry,
like,
I had us muted because we were talking about the beer festival and things. Him and Paul are going to help me try and organize it this year, so I was telling him things that we needed to do.
And I'm like for example, like I won this for $5.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Best $5 I ever spent in my fucking life.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Don't believe that.
And
Too late.
2002.
Oh shit! 2002, really?
$5.
I got
He's
this
just trying
for
to make Lee
nothing.
cry.
I got this for absolutely nothing.
Holy shit!
Fucking nice.
This is $5.
Hey,
I don't have the can.
I
but
got this
I
for
got
absolutely
Volkswagen
nothing.
cider for free, so.
Nothing.
Well,
That looks old, man.
Matt likes aged beers. Matt, we're gonna drink this. You like aged beers?
I'll trade you. You want to do just a trade? I'll ship this to you, and you ship that to me, or?
Well, I've been horribly shamed. I have to leave. Good night, gentlemen.
All right, have a good night, Lee.
Bye, Lee.
Bye-bye.
Hail to the king.
Lee, next time don't poop yourself.
I'm gonna send Lee a crown.
Well, the only reason I've been saying, because I've been trying to get rid of this thing, like to drink it for a long time, and it takes a group of people to drink the fucking thing.
That's heavy shit.
bring it next year.
That's what I'm saying. But I don't know, if there's a certain leader, like at one point they're looked at and be like,
you might
They'll be like, no, you do not want to bring that. They'll be like, no,
They're
don't bring that.
way into receipts.
Just come up and say you have 22 beers or something like that. Be like,
I have 22 beers, but it's in one bottle.
I'm going to a beer festival.
Yeah.
I'll just get a receipt for it, right? That's it. That'll help you.
They're not going to.
thing
The
is, see
Canadian
stuff
border guards are not going to ask you the volume of everything.
No.
They're just going to ask you what you have. I have 22 beers for personal consumption in the week I'm up there.
Oh, when I used to come up to Toronto, I used to go to Toronto about like once a month. The thing they always told me was, when you get to the border, tell them you're like, pick the most politically correct thing you can possibly imagine, and tell them that's why you're going there. So you're going to a gay rights rally, you're going to a parade or whatever, and just tell them that, and they usually let you through. And that was
Don't tell them
usually
to
the
go to a
case.
Habs game.
The what? I didn't hear that, but
Don't think you're going to a Habs game.
oh, does that mean what? I mean, they wouldn't let me in anyway because they wouldn't believe that anybody was a Habs fan, right?
Oh, they wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, whatever.
We have the advantage of where we live. You can tell them you're coming to see Niagara Falls and drink beer.
There you go.
There you go.
There's no one ever does that.
Because like the other 8 million people a year who do that don't have a problem.
There you go.
Nobody drinks beer in Niagara Falls.
We do have that advantage.
No, they eat pizza and look at patio stones.
Patio stones.
Yeah, that was my racist comment of the day. There's a lot of Italians.
Paul!
Okay, YouTube, none of you are asking questions, so we're going to go off. Paul's here. We're going to let the ponytail show himself. Hi, guys.
The ponytail.